Example, we have some domestic workers who have worked for one employer for 10 years. Okay, so
That's gonna be rich.
right now, if they're receiving 100.
Toyota Tacoma is not just a truck. It's who you are. Strong, capable, just like you. It's tough and authentic. For almost 30 years, Toyota has built the best, most durable, go-anywhere truck that do anything Tacoma. It's the truck that breaks barriers, not the bank. And it's always there to help keep its friends safe. The authentic Toyota Tacoma. The truck, that's you. Toyota, let's go places. You want it? It's extended at Brockman's. 40 to 60% off, plus a $100 instant discount. No interest for up to 48 months with no money down and free delivery. The Labor Day sale extended through Monday at Brockman's. 30 years ago, that hot new cell phone was probably a lot like this. A new PC like this. Your family's Toyota. The dealership may have been this. With us. This was the moment in our relationship when the years of planning together finally paid off. We'd always known where we wanted to go. Getting there was another story. With so many possibilities and questions, we needed advice we could trust. And it felt good to talk with someone who asked about more than our finances. For the first time, we started to see ourselves in all the places we'd imagined. Rockland Trust Bank, where each relationship matters.
To get to them. In the Bahamas, there is still a desperate need for help. The official death toll there for Hurricane Dorian is still 30, but hundreds, possibly thousands of people are still missing. The government officials warn the final death toll will be staggering. As Mike Drolet reports, those who survive now find themselves in the midst of an unfolding humanitarian crisis.
The Nixon family has been doing this a lot. Spontaneous hugs reminding them of what they could have lost.
We watched our house get swept away by the tide, and that tide beat the place we were staying. It beat the door down.
The wind and the waves pushed them in different directions. They lost sight of each other, then somehow found each other again.
That's amazing. Pastor, that's amazing. I believe in God. My faith rests upon Him.
Everybody we encountered has a similar story of survival, of losing everything. The lucky ones happy, they held on to what mattered most.
We had to take my 3 kids. My wife, we had to get out. We had to swim to safety.
The list of missing is massive, with the government warning Bahamians to prepare for unimaginable information about a death toll that could rise into the thousands. There's no way of knowing how many for sure, as evidenced by the fact Elijah Esho is still here. His phone had lost power before the hurricane hit. 8 days later, when he got power, he found out he'd been put on the list of those missing, likely dead.
I saw over like 500 messages, 600 messages, and then 1,000 messages.
The UN says some 70,000 who were lucky to survive would suffer greatly. They don't get food, water, and medicine immediately. For days, Canadian aid agency Global Medic has been getting ready to move in with their own water treatment systems. Fresh water will make a difference, even more so for former NHLer Andre Deveau, a native Bahamian who lost contact with his father on Saturday, only to hear from him finally on Thursday night.
It's been a load off me for sure. The first few days I was pretty tense and I was getting pretty frustrated. Not, what do you mean we're not going right now? What do you mean we're gonna have to leave?
Now they were able to get both teams in there today. They brought a couple of systems with them, and they're getting it right for getting fresh water to the people that need it. They're also gathering a lot of resources in Toronto at a bunch of donation centers, and as soon as those are full, they're going to ship them down here. But even that poses we're at the airport right now. It's going to come in here. We have to get it then to the islands to the north. And that's a real problem because the government's been heavily criticized for putting a little too much red tape on things and not allowing pilots to fly. One we've heard is actually flew in, got so fed up he flew in by himself and getting a citation from the government. Donna?
Mike, what are you hearing about what might be the true scope of the death toll there? What are people telling you?
Well, what they're seeing is a lot of death, a lot of suffering. We've heard people talking about parents having to choose between one child and the other. There's a huge toll on these people. If they didn't lose somebody personally, what they've seen is going to stay with them for the rest of their lives. Also, the government is ordering more morticians and body bags in because the morgues on those islands are full. And the problem with that is that there are far too many bodies in the street, in the rubble, and floating in the bay, floating in the ocean for them to deal with. Quite the scene.
isolate each other. It's not that fault.
And if your bones are strong and your muscles are strong, both of which can only be achieved by strength training. So that's what you need to do. Challenge your body.
While people are living longer, the number of years lived in poor health or with disability are increasing. That's why doctors have released new guidelines on how to build strength and balance to prevent shortness and inability in old age.
What we've been emphasizing in these guidelines is the importance of developing strength and balance. Because as we get older, if we don't have those, we risk losing our independence. One of the biggest causes of admission to hospital is people falling over.
Evidence suggests that physical activity protects chronic conditions, but strength-based exercise, at least 2 days a week, can help delay the natural decline in muscle mass and bone density that starts around the age of 50.
Even if there are older adults out there who are not partaking in physical activity at the moment, or maybe unable to leave their house, there really are everyday things that they can do to improve their strength and balance.
Some is good, is better. That's the government's overall advice when it comes to exercise. Ashley Blake, Sky News, Oxfordshire.
It's a lot to Australia. Going into today, Old Trafford, England trailed by 297 runs and lost 3 late wickets yesterday. Jason Roy was the latest to go. Ben Stokes and Johnny Bairstow resumed with England 200 for 5, needing 98 more to avoid the follow-on. Scotland qualified for next summer's European Championships and suffered a serious blow. Stephen O'Donnell scored an own goal. They lost 2-1 to Russia. Wales beat Azerbaijan 2-1 thanks to a late Gareth Bale goal. Rafael Nadal is through to the final of the US Open. He beat Matteo Berrettini in straight sets. And England ended their Rugby World Cup preparations with a third Italy. Bad news though for Marco Nicola and Jack Johnson. The first 2 games after injury. Good morning. A chilly start today, but for many of us it should be a dry day with some bright or sunny spell. There are a few showers around, mainly affecting Irish and North Sea coasts. We will see some showers develop through the day across parts of England and Wales, possibly parts of Ireland as well, but the showers will be light, quite well scattered, with chances of managing to avoid them. And it looks largely dry across parts of Northern Ireland. Lovely sunshine across the northern part of Scotland. Plenty of sunshine around, making up for that very chilly start. Temperatures rising to around the mid to high teens with lighter winds against the sea. That should feel fairly pleasant. The breeze, though, still going down the North Sea, quite breezy for parts of East Anglia. Possibly they will shower lingering here overnight, but for most of them, a dry night, long clear spells, light winds, colder. Could be a touch of grass frost first thing on Sunday morning for some rural spots, 7 and 8 towns and cities. You've probably noticed the change, though, coming in across parts of Ireland. Ireland and also the western half of Scotland. Cloudier skies here, light rain drizzle slowly edging in eastwards as we go through the day. Temperature as well, we're looking again mid to high teens, lots of sunshine for parts of eastern Scotland, much of England and Wales. So another fine day after a chilly start. But keeping an eye out to the northwest, we'll start to see so Sunday night into Monday, the wet and windy weather moving in, not looking quite so pretty for Monday. Still to come on Sunrise is another killed by Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas. Rising. We'll bring you the latest regarding the island, also by nature.
They might not have any power. They're having trouble. Oh, that's bad.
This is Sky News 10 headlines as the number killed by Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas rises to 43. Sky News reaches one of the islands called by nature.
We have been underwater here a couple of days ago. You can see where the water was on top of that debris. And it was such a powerful surge that it brought cars that are now stuck in the debris.
Break the law or resign, the extreme options facing Boris Johnson as he insists there will be no Brexit extension. Back on royal duties, Prince Andrew is in Bruges to mark the 75th anniversary of Belgian city's liberation. Aerobics out, muscle strengthening in, the new exercise guidelines to help us stay healthy for longer. It's Advantage Australia going into day 4 of 4 Ashes test as England try to call back any home victory. Hello, very good morning. The devastation by Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas. Officials say that number is expected to grow significantly in hours and days as hundreds of people are reported. Our US correspondent Amanda Walker and her team are among the first journalists to reach high-profile beachside around Bahama, an area made almost inaccessible by the hurricane.
We're on our way to High Rock. Now, powerless, sinking which is only just Dorian, it was an ocean. Dan Kent's territory. He hasn't been back since the Category 5 storm. That's the furthest east to be.
I don't know what to say. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this. I've been through hurricanes, but not like this.
Total devastation.
Total devastation.
It's a staggering sight. We reach what was the town's administrative centre. The police station smashed open. The medical centre, treatment, not by machine, but by nature that is the most powerful. 500 people lived in High Rock. 40 stayed during Dorian. 17 of them are now missing. People look stunned. The hurricane left only 4 days ago. Half of them sofa is in the rafters. Kenneth appears to be. That's your brother's wheelchair.
Yeah, he's missing.
He's missing.
He's dead, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No.
The terror people must have felt in their final moments. There is no official aid for them. People are doing what they can. Pastor Cecil Kemp saved his neighbour who was clinging to this tree. Others Mrs. Dan's daughter, returning to perform her grandparents' home. They are at least safe. These salvage residents have described to us how a huge wave came from the north and swept through this area, destroying everything in its path. We'd have been underwater here a couple of days ago. You can see where the water was at the top of that debris. And it was such a powerful surge that it brought cars that are now stuck in the debris here and a whole manner of things across here, chairs, TV monitors swept out of people's homes. There's even a bottle of aftershave from a bathroom cabinet. Everything that it came through, destroyed, and brought out towards the ocean, which they can now see here because everything has been flattened. It's remarkable that anyone or anything survived. Now, Carl have this town under siege. It's a day fight, desperate need of action. This tiny community, they're doing what they can for each other, but it's nowhere near enough. Down with many supplies. Can High Rock recover?
Yeah, we can, but it's gonna be a long time. It's not gonna be no months, maybe years.
Amanda Walker, Sky News, High Rock.
On Brexit now, MPs voted to no deal on Pairs ex-Prime Minister or Tiffany refuses to debate Brexit. A bill that looks set to become law on Monday before Boris Johnson's extension. But in a message sent to Conservative members last night, the Prime Minister said that is something you can never do. Well, announcing the general election is inevitable. The question is when exactly it happens. Opposition MPs want to prevent the UK leaving the EU without a deal on the Brexit deadline day of October. Boris Johnson's plan to hold an early election ahead of that the Prime Minister's early election bill meeting once again on Monday, and he has very little time to find another solution, as he's already committed suspended back 5 weeks later on October 14th, in speech with the two-day EU summit taking place later. That's which MPs notified to ask any delay to Brexit. Say they must be sitting in the days after this to ensure Mr. Johnson gets that extension to him. If they manage to prevent a no-deal Brexit at the end of October, the election could be 2nd October. That campaign is to last at least 25 working days in the earliest. The general election could be held in the last week of November. Well, let's head to Westminster now, bring in our political correspondent, Rob Powell. Rob, good to see you. It was a tumultuous week for Boris Johnson last week, and next week it's going to be much easier for him either.
Yeah, that's right. Very few options left for Boris Johnson at the moment. He's in a very tight spot after that bill, which was approved by the House of Lords, that is expected to come on Monday, which will basically force him to go to the EU and ask for an extension. He hasn't got a deal, he hasn't got no deal by the 19th of October. Now, he insists he would never ask for a delay. He's written to Conservative members overnight saying that Labour has passed a law that would force me to beg Brussels for an extension. This is something I will never do. So seemingly being very firm on that. So one of the only options really left is could the Prime Minister break the law and actually decide not to ask for that extension in the face of legislation forcing him to do so. Well, the Rebel MPs, both on the Conservative side and those in the Labour Party and the Dems who are against no deal, have basically seen that one coming, and they've assembled a legal team and a legal case, and they are prepared to go to court to force the Prime Minister to ask for that extension. So they say that that October the 19th cut-off date, whereby the Prime Minister will have to ask for an extension if he hasn't got a deal, that was into bill to give them 10 days of wiggle room in order to go through a court case and force the Prime Minister to ask for an extension before the October 31st deadline. So very few options left for Boris Johnson. He'll be spending this weekend, I think, mulling over the next move. He's overnighted in Scotland. He's been with the Queen. He had dinner with the Queen last night about the holiday home. He's supposed to be heading back to London today. But in a very tight spot, so unclear what will be through it.
Okay, Rob in Westminster, thank you.
Prince Andrew has resumed royal duties today, laying wreath to mark the 75th anniversary of celebration of the Prince's first official engagement following controversy regarding his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Sky correspondent Lisa Holland joins us now from Bruges. What's the Prince doing right now?
Well, John, good morning. Prince Andrew is inside the town hall at a reception as we speak. He arrived here about 45 minutes or so ago. He is standing alongside Prince Laurent, the brother of the King of Belgium, taking part in commemorative events to mark the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Bruges from occupation. To that end, he laid a wreath at the statue of King Charles II. Also, as Colonel-in-Chief of Friendly Guards, he was here to stand in front of them and inspect a musical performance. And now, of course, he's come on to the town hall. But it has to be said that, of course, it can't go unsaid that this is his first official outing since Jeffrey Epstein, a friendship that, of course, he had with the convicted sex offender. Jeffrey Epstein took his own life in a jail cell in New York a few weeks ago, and there are, in spite of that statement from Buckingham Palace, penned by Prince Andrew, saying that he knew nothing of the darker side of Jeffrey Epstein, there are still, of course, burning questions to be asked, but none of that today, of course, is the day for an official event of reflection on that 75th commemorative event. Prince Andrew said nothing publicly so far. There are no plans, we understand, for any kind of official speech. He's been resolute, pretty determined, took one look at the bank of waiting photographers and then moved on after laying the wreath, and then is now, of course, inside the town hall at a reception, and then we'll go on to a private lunch.
Okay, Lisa in Bruges, thank you very much indeed. Prince Andrew has denied any wrongdoing, but his connection to Jeffrey Epstein comes under scrutiny of Sussex. The use of private jets has made it a pretty summer family. One former tabloid editor telling Sky News problems will be in Republican Green. Our world correspondent, Gavin.
When the Queen arrived in Balmoral at the end of July, even she probably didn't anticipate just how tumultuous the summer would be. With Privy Councillors flying to Scotland to ask her to suspend Parliament, and scandals swirling around her family, like Prince Harry being criticised for flying on private jets, and the reports linking Prince Andrew to the Jeffrey Epstein sex scandal, which he denies. Former editor of the Sun newspaper, Dominic Mowen, now runs his own PR agency, says it has been a highly damaging couple of months.
She's seen many crises over the years, and I think that the Meghan and Harry aspect, I think that's fairly low level to her. But I think that the Andrew situation would be highly worrying. I think it's been a Republican's dream summer, if I'm honest.
While the Queen may be on holiday up in Scotland, the appetite for stories about her family does not die down, and we've seen that right throughout the summer. When it comes to dealing with that, it's not just image control here in the UK. They are this huge international brand, and these stories go right around the world.
To be an annus horribilis.
It was in the 1990s that the Queen made this famous speech after a fire at Windsor Castle. Charles and Diana were separating, and the private lives of her other children were a tabloid editor's dream. Journalists who were around at the time say nothing can compare to that.
That was a terrible time. Also, you had other deaths as well, of course, which was a tragedy. This doesn't really compare. I would say it's a blip, and a blip that will just be dealt with and moved on.
After his first public engagement at Dartmouth Royal Regatta just over a week ago, Prince Andrew is expected in Bruges today to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the city. Lawyers in America continue to ask him to answer questions. Even at 93 years old, family matters can't distract from the Queen's official duties, and that includes hosting her Prime Minister Boris Johnson for an overnight stay at Balmoral. She may have had a difficult summer, at least she has something in common with her 14th Prime Minister. Rhiannon Mills, Sky News.
Police are on the streets in Hong Kong as authorities set up security in and around the region's airport, which is set to be the centre of yet another weekend of protest. Despite Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam's announcement that the hugely controversial extradition bill is scrapped, riot police are guarding railway stations and the airport, which demonstrators say they plan to stress test in the next few hours. Throw Molotov cocktails and set barricades on fire. Police responded with tear gas, rubber bullets to try to disperse the violent crowd. For a democracy, protesters have taken on the streets in the past 3 months. The biggest challenge in China. Peter Tando in 1997. A 74-year-old woman from India has become one of the world's oldest new mother. Yaramati Mangayama gave birth to twin girls prior to their conception following surgery. Doctors confirmed that the mother and babies are doing well. Officials in America using e-cigarettes after a fifth person died from lung disease, possibly related to vaping. Across the country, there have been 450 cases of people regularly vaping coming down with serious complaints. No single vaping device or liquid has been linked to the influence of many of those smoking THC and marijuana. The Children's Commissioner for England is calling on political parties to back her plan to improve the lives of disadvantaged children. The Children's Manifesto suggests opening schools in the evenings and weekends and to have dedicated police officers attached to the schools to tackle gang violence.
Children tell me more and more that they don't feel safe in those cities, that they have nowhere to go and nowhere that they can even stay. If we open schools up outside their formal classrooms, that's a huge resource. They can get access to huge amount of sports, to drama, to arts, and to tech, and importantly, be safer with their friends. Their families will help by being able to help their families be able to work. It will help them have positive places to go, and ultimately, with the engagement of the neighbourhood police as well, it will turn them, divert them away from the lure of gangs and others that is really very dangerous and really, in the end, a very negative end result.
Brazil and 6 other South American countries have agreed measures to protect the Amazon River basin amidst global concern of forest fires destroying part of the world's largest tropical rainforest. As well as monitoring. And India's space agency says it has lost touch with its lunar lander, making its final approach to the south pole of the and search for a successful landing. The fourth country in the world to land a vessel on the lunar surface, yet it has crashed. This is Sky News. Still to come, all Scotland's hosted European qualification hangs on red after defeat. get all your weekend sport now, Jeff. See you at the top.
This sports bulletin is brought to you by Vitality, the life insurance net.
Hello there, it's a huge morning for England's cricketers. They try and eat Australia's lead in the Ashes test. Ben Stokes and Johnny Benz over England's 205, needing 98 balls before it would follow on. They trail by 297 runs. Action is back underway at Old Trafford at 11 o'clock.
I think there's probably a little bit more bounce with the new ball. Just seemed to skid off a couple of times. Obviously, still hopes we get one there, but I think it's always a chance that you get through sort of 8 to 10 overs. It starts a lot easier again. So that's our challenge. Ken Stokes here, Johnny getting the partnership with Zero Ginter.
Scotland's captain Andy Robertson says they've only got themselves to blame after damaging their hopes for qualifying for the next European Championships. They lost 2-1 to Russia at Hampden Park. Scotland went to goal up thanks to John McGinn after 10 minutes. But Russia equalised 5 minutes before half-time. Captain Artem Zhuba with the goal after the ball had bounced off the legs of Robertson. Russia then went ahead with half an hour to go. Yuri Zhirkov claimed the goal, but it went down as a Stephen O'Donnell own goal. Scotland were then booed off at the final whistle. They're fourth in their group behind Kazakhstan. Wales survived a scare to beat Azerbaijan 2-1 in Group E. Pavlo Pashayev's bizarre own goal put Wales in front in Cardiff. The game appeared to be heading for a shock draw when Wales goalkeeper Wayne Hennessy failed to deal with Mahir Emreli's shot, the striker equalising with his second goal. But with time running out, it was left to the Wales talisman Gareth Bale to score the winner. Wales are third in the group, 3 points behind Hungary and Croatia. England's new boys, Mason Mount, James Maddison and Tyrone Mings, may have to wait for their first meeting to their respective minutes on the bench tonight during 2020 qualifying against Bulgaria. New manager Gareth Southgate says
To prove in terms of where we're
Rafael Nadal is one step closer to a 19th Grand Slam tennis title after reaching the final. Nadal serving Italy's Matteo Berrettini in straight sets, 7-6, 6-4, 6-1. Hammer is a remarkable baseline winner. He's just too short of Roger Federer's all-time major records. And he'll hope to make that one by beating Daniil Medvedev in the final. The fifth seed is through to his first Grand Slam final after beating Grigor Dimitrov, the man who beat Federer, in straight sets. Mako Vunipola and Jack Noel will miss England's first 2 matches at the Rugby World Cup after suffering injury setbacks. Neither man featured as England ended their preparations for the tournament with a 37-0 win over Italy. Anthony Watson with their 4th and final try at Newcastle's St James's Park. Injury concerns too for Scotland in their final warm-up match. They ran into 6 tries, 36 runs. There was a worrying head injury near the end of their minutes. England's first World Cup opponent Tonga suffered a huge defeat to New Zealand. They led 54-0 at half-time. Restart. He scored 4 of their 14 tries as the game finished 92-7. Formula 2 driver Juan Manuel Correa, who was injured in the accident which killed Antoine Hubert in Belgium last weekend, has been placed in an induced coma. Correa suffered a spinal injury and broken legs in the crash. He's in intensive care at a London hospital and is in a critical but stable condition. You can see more build-up to today's cricket. It's live now on Sky Sports News, and we're back in an hour.
For life insurance that rewards healthy living, Vitality.
now used cucumbers and bananas. But at the storage warehouse in Central London, now being transformed into Europe's largest available Bao buns. Is that right? Bao buns and the Chinese ones.
Yeah, the steamed ones, the white ones, squishy ones.
Yeah. It sounds fantastic. Just describe this building to me. What's going to be inside?
Oh, it's this beautiful 19th century building. It used to be designed by Thomas Neal, Thomas Neal's warehouse. And it was in the 90s, it was a shop flat later, super dry and everything like that. And they've cleared it all, just made it really kind of beautiful and incredibly spacious. It's got big old arches and giant glass ceiling. It's just, yeah, it's gorgeous. You go in and you go downstairs, and it's like the wedding feast downstairs, all the street food cooking. And upstairs there's more cafes with terrazzo, pink terrazzo countertops. And then there's a strip next to it with cucumber alley, which is our producer's street.
It's sort of in progress, isn't it? We're putting it all together. And that's right, they used to store bananas and cucumbers.
Yeah, so garden market, obviously, it's an incredibly powerful market in London, and it's supplied all of the whole city. And we have, storage facilities all over the place, so bananas, cucumbers, Pineapple Studios was a pineapple storage warehouse. So very fruity.
Yeah, that makes sense. That street food is really back in fashion, isn't it? I mean, when I've been abroad to certain places and you see food being sold on the street, always slightly a bit nervous that it's going to be very good for you. But it has become fashion, very trendy. And you've got all sorts of types, tastes.
Yeah, you've got stuff all over the place. You shouldn't be nervous. All you need to find is someone who's to be really busy and tell you that really quickly. But one thing to be nervous about is people who've got the meat sitting around all day and their customers. But generally, people are very good, and I'll not have to jump through hoops to get into doing it in the first place. And it's just people all over the world. Like my business has got street food traders from over 30 different countries: Venezuela, Trinidad, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Italy, Japan, Taiwan. I mean, it goes on and on. It's wonderful.
Having this building, it's got a long way from your beginnings, isn't it? When you're driving around a truck,
yeah, careening around the countryside in my chocolate-mobile. I mean, 2005, I started driving my chocolate-mobile around and selling chocolate, brownie fudge sundaes, milkshakes, all sorts of things. And yeah, it's just a lonely business. Like, it's incredibly sociable. You open the hatch and there's all these chocolate lovers there ready to kind of swarm and enjoy themselves and talk about chocolate and everything. But then you go home and you bake brownies and you're kind of like cracking for yourself. And I realised that there's this wonderful community that existed amongst everyone out there doing the same thing. We should get together, get organised and create something bigger.
Is money a factor? Do you think people are shunning more traditional restaurants now? Going out and it's a lot cheaper and a lot sort of easier.
I think people are a lot more emotionally driven when it comes to street food. Like street food, you connect with the person who's making it. I think there's a lot of anonymity of meeting these days where you don't know who's cooked it, you haven't seen their eyes, you haven't seen their passion, you don't get the kind of feedback or anything. You get that instant on the street food. You see the person who's behind the business, know before you go into their house, you trust it, and you taste the passion.
Yeah, you can see their passion. Right in front of you. Excellent. You're making me feel quite hungry. It's open today?
It's opening today, 11 a.m. and then 7 days a week from here on in. And it's going to be wonderful. It's Japanese soul food from MasterChef winner Tim Anderson with Napa, the world's first cheese conveyor belt. It's like sushi, but really good cheesy. And actually, we're big cheese.
That all sounds great. Thanks for that.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Okay, take a look at that.
Sponsored by Qatar Airways.
Some very places will be fine over the weekend, but there will be a few showers today. One more gentle showering rain in the Atlantic. It will be quite cool, but my wind speed places Ireland, Wales, and central and southern England will be fairly cloudy with a scattering of mainly light showers for a time this afternoon, but will turn mainly dry with plenty of sunshine later. Scotland and northern England, meanwhile, will be mostly dry with virtually unbroken sunshine throughout. It'll stay mostly dry overnight, but the northwest of Ireland and the Hebrides can expect a few coastal showers later. Long, clear spells and light winds mean it will turn quite chilly with a ground frost possible in parts of the countryside. Northern Britain looks most at risk. Britain will be mostly dry and sunny again on Sunday, but cloud and patchy showery rain will take over northwest Scotland, Northern Ireland and Ireland later. Southern England may see the shower.
The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
Your Sky News still to come this week. The FYI presenters take part in their very own Prime Minister's Question Time. Get some back in practice. welcome back. You're with Sky News. Time now for our children's show, FYI.
Hi, and welcome to the show that puts you in the know. This is FYI, and it's been a big week of Brexit drama. Hi guys, yep, I'm here at Parliament trying to make sense of it all. And we put our questions to Boris Johnson in his first Prime Minister's questions for FYI, as the country and Parliament become even more divided over Brexit. We've also dug out some viral video nuggets like raining octopuses.
And from Bangladesh Devices, FYI viewer Jasmine takes us behind the scenes at the UK's biggest Asian festival. We're about to go on stage. Wish us luck. So we have an update from our report for Our World last week. We heard from Aubie, who wasn't sure if he was going back to school like the rest of us.
Alfie's new school, Colchester Royal Grammar, said that he had to cut off his long hair if he wants to keep his place.
Well, now the school have compromised and said Alfie can keep his hair long if he ties it up. Alfie sent us a message. Hi guys, Alfie here. And as you can see, I kept my long hair. Over the summer, we made an arrangement with the school that if I kept my hair above collar length in a bun, and it was neat, then I could keep it. Anyway, I'm pretty excited about starting school. Take care.
Talk about pupil power, Alfie. Going back to school can be daunting for many of us, especially if, like Alfie, you're starting a new school. So we've got hold of the psychiatrist Emma Kenny again. She helps lots of kids with their problems.
Hi guys. Hi, so what's your advice on starting a new school?
Starting school can be really anxiety provoking. It can really happen because the reality is you're going into a new environment that you're not used to. But just remember, there are so many other young people feeling exactly the same. Planning really does make perfect. So if you can do some things like setting your alarm 15 minutes earlier to make sure that your uniform is prepped, getting your packed lunch sorted, making sure that you know what your timetable is, and essentially setting yourself up with a really positive mindset. That's really going to make a difference to you. The most important thing, so important, is if you want to start a new school.
Affirmative, awaiting for a cruiser or the FD to walk this out of it.
Who can really make your life
Received. FD should be in the area just about now. Do you have a better address for us?
You really will get through it.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks. More details of where you can go for advice or anything worrying you on our webpage. USA President Donald Trump's hair continues to be
Intersection where the high tension wires cross airlines.
Maybe it's down to the stress of the job. There are reports that Bear Grylls has met his match in the wilderness. He's really scared of bees. Fake news or fact? We'll reveal later.
How did I do? Uh-oh.
Well, one it was back to school for us. It was back to work for our politicians after their story. And some of our younger Brexit trying to figure out and agree on the best way to keep the speaking. And that led a very eventful week.
And the planes just keep coming and going.
Hi guys, I've been looking into what's happening and why, because Brexit affects us all. And if you think politics is boring, let me tell you, this week has been like an episode of Star Wars. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the UK should leave the EU on the 31st of October, with or without a deal.
We're leaving on the 31st of October. No ifs.
But politicians from his own Conservative Party joined forces with politicians from other political parties to try and stop it. They've become known as Rebel Alliance. They work together to create a new law that forces the government to rule out a no deal Brexit.
Fire for 241.
So the Prime Minister strikes back and calls for a quick general election.
Go ahead, 241.
There are better locations to the line down. We don't have.
But it's likely there'll still be an election shift, which will give adults a say in which party handles Brexit. Boris Johnson's Conservatives.
They're saying it's closer towards Goldenrod Pass.
Labour, who only want to leave the EU with a deal.
We must come together to stop, no deal. This week could be our last chance.
Well, the Liberal Democrats promise another vote for the public on Wednesday.
Come down here and land a bit from 5 corners. You'll see us.
Here's Boris Johnson taking our questions for his first, and who knows, maybe his last Prime Minister's questions for FYI. Hi, Prime Minister. What's the very first thing you did when you got into number 10?
The first thing you have to do is you go in and you meet your brilliant officials who look after you, and when you go through the room, you collapse. It's absolutely fantastic. And you then go through to your office, a little office that the Prime Minister has, and they do various things like give you a mobile phone and your interesting conversation. And then you get on with running the government. One of the very things I had to do was to
First time violators will be slapped.
Repeat offenders. 9 teachers are suing the government over unpaid loans.
Like tens of thousands of borrowers with debt they thought they'd already worked off. An urgent government warning over vaping, the deaths, and the mysterious illnesses linked to e-cigarettes, and the devastation left in Hurricane Dorian's wake. The makeshift kitchen set up to feed those in need. Cindy, good morning.
And good morning to you. We're still tracking Dorian. It is still a Category 1 hurricane. Latest advisory winds are 85 miles per hour. This is now racing away 25 miles per hour. That track is going to take it right up into Nova Scotia. But the heavy rain that we have right now, you can see it on the Cape. It is going to be pulling away after about 9 o'clock this morning. So we are expecting improvements today. But a little rough going on the Cape right now. You're looking at live pictures from Chatham and Sandwich, where we do have that windswept soaking rain. We'll take a look at the timeline on those shifting winds when those move out as well.
November 17th is National Take a Hike Day. At AARP, we're all about hikes and other things to keep you healthy. It's why we offer health tips for your body and your brain. Today is your day to make fitness happen.
Mile first to PD on location, 114, clear returning. First floor zone, unlimited there with the cause is reset. 121 clear. That's correct. I'll get a closer phone number for it.
That's my style.
Introducing the entirely redesigned 2019 Acura RVs.
Answering to 41.
Nearest poll number is going to be 57 over 3. Do we have an ETA on Eversource?
I will get in contact with them and get an updated address. They did put the ticket in. I just want to confirm. You're saying it's at 4040 Airline Road?
If you want medical, no patient contact, 7 Joe suspicion. 7 Joe suspicion.
Unit 6, Island 547.
New this morning, as school gets underway, one of the biggest teachers' unions in the country is suing the Department of Education, saying it mishandled a federal debt forgiveness program for public service workers. Matt Pritchard takes a look at the situation that's left tens of thousands of borrowers with debt they thought they'd already worked off. It was devastating.
Gloria Nolan is one of 8 public service workers in the Department of Education.
I felt like I had it.
She was told she qualified for federal.
Negative, sir. I don't have a key location. I'll try and call back.
So bad. You just need to think.
That didn't happen. When she sent in her application for forgiveness, Nolan was told she was on the wrong repayment plan and was denied. School art teacher Kelly Finlaw was also turned down. She had the wrong kind of loan, but that was never explained.
And I just remember feeling very deflated, but also very powerless.
Both women are part of a lawsuit alleging gross mismanagement of the program by the Department of Education, saying the department has turned a blind eye to repeated misrepresentations by loan servicers, consistently makes administrative mistakes, and arbitrarily rejects borrowers without providing meaningful explanations as to why. The Department of Education says the low number of approvals is due to complexities in the program passed in 2007. It says they improved internal processes and enhanced communication and outreach to borrowers. Just last year, Congress passed an expanded public service forgiveness program, to which the lawsuit alleges that the Department of Education has mismanaged that as well. In fact, a watchdog report out just in the last few days says that 1% of
Volunteer chefs doing their part to help survivors of Hurricane Dorian. Kitchen chefs setting up their huge paella burners in Freeport yesterday. Crews packaged it up for delivery to dozens of distribution sites in the hardest hit neighborhoods.
A2, your emergency PH, 545.
It's a good feeling like you have a purpose, serving their purpose.
Entry info.
Making sure that everybody's taken care of.
No problem. I know what an Xbox is.
Good feeling, despite the disaster.
Well, there is no power on the island and grocery stores are closed. Volunteers are working to secure a kitchen inside a Freeport hotel. They say if they can have a normal workspace and not have to work outside, they can provide even more meals to people who do desperately need them.
A South Florida-based cruise line is doubling its efforts to assist with the relief efforts in the Bahamas. Deerfield Beach-based Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line announced it will be transporting food, water, supplies, volunteers, and first responders to the Bahamas to help out with aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. The cruise line plans to take Bahamians stranded in Florida back to their homes, as well as bring back any U.S. citizens that may be stranded. Hurricane preparations are underway in Canada as the threat of Hurricane Dorian looks. Flashlights and batteries going fast as people may need them if the storm knocks out power. People are also stocking up in the pharmacy, the grocery store, and the gas stations. Control owners are being urged to check their yard and put away anything that can be blown around. Cindy, you were talking about Nova Scotia, Halifax, really.
And we have some viewers up in Nova Scotia that watch us here. So this is a situation where, this is now a Category 1 hurricane, but it's a powerful storm. There as we get to see things. We're just going to the storm's gotten so much larger than it was down in the Bahamas. Take a look at the wind field, and you can get some perspective as to where the strongest winds are. Where you see that pink color, that's when we're talking about wind gusts up over 80 miles per hour. We're just kind of catching the edge of that red color, which is a wind gust of 50, 60 miles per hour, which we've seen here already this morning. And then look where this is headed as we get toward the afternoon hours. By noontime, the worst of the wind is starting to pull away for us, but it is headed right for Nova Scotia. You can see that there. So this will make a direct hit as a Category 1 hurricane there. For us so far, highest wind gusts we've had in Wellfleet, 55 miles per hour. Provincetown, we've had a gust of 50. And we've gotten close on Nantucket, Rockport as well. But there is a buoy that is just southeast of Nantucket that did measure a wind gust of 78 miles per hour just before 5 o'clock this morning. About 20 feet there. And that's the other thing. I mean, these huge waves coming for Nova Scotia later. And for us, the rough surface would have continued here. and that probably passing by. Getting some gusts over 30 and even 40 miles per hour on the Cape of Nantucket. Plymouth now gusting to 30 miles per hour. Even back to Providence we are as well. We've got these gusts over 20 all the way back into the Worcester area. So we've got the wind. The rain has been heaviest as expected so far down on the Cape and the islands where we've had 1 to nearly 2 inches of rain so far. And we're not done yet. This is the spot that may actually see over 2 and even closer to 4 inches of rain on Nantucket, but elsewhere it should be under an inch. So take a look. The official track on Dorian, Category 1 hurricane, 85 mile per hour winds right now. They may come down a little bit, but still a Category 1 hurricane as it heads up toward Halifax, Nova Scotia. And for us, the center is passing nearly 150 miles southeast of Nantucket. You can see these heavy rain bands. We've had a couple set up. The interior rain band is starting to diminish now, but persistent heavy rain here on the Cape. You can see it just west and into Hyannis. We've got another one set up on the outer Cape down to Nantucket. This will start to shrink up and pull away between about 7 and 9 o'clock this morning. By 9 a.m., most of the rain is winding down, and then look at the clouds. They will break up this afternoon as well, but a gusty breeze is going to continue. Soon when we shut off the rain,
Accidental activation or clear return.
Still gusting over 20 miles per hour, even in Boston.
Accidental activation return.
With a little bit of brightening, the temperature should come up to near 70 at the coast, some lower 70s inland. So we will turn this day around. Strongest winds through about 10 o'clock this morning. 10 a.m. northerly winds may still be gusting to 50 miles per hour on the Cape, but inland areas will start to come down. Gusty breeze on into the afternoon, over 30 on the Cape, but elsewhere winds do come down as we head into this evening. And one thing to watch overnight, a little disturbance is going to race on through. Passing clouds, maybe a sprinkle up north. Otherwise, we'll clear out our skies tonight. Temperatures down in the 50s tonight. It is going to be a cool one. And tomorrow, look at this. Temperatures in the mid-upper 70s. Loads of sunshine, low humidity. Really just a beautiful day here for the second half of the weekend. And we're going to keep that nice weather going into early next week. Monday, Tuesday looking good. Next chance of any showers not coming till the middle of next week. Okay, we'll bump up. We could be back close to 80 as we get to
Okay, Cindy. Some news to pass along about a child who stole our hearts this summer. Mighty Quinn is back in the hospital. This is Quinn Florence. He's fighting an aggressive brain tumor. He was homebound and is best known for bringing visitors to his window. Quinn is now hospitalized at Boston Children's Hospital after contracting an infection, and it looks like he'll be there for a while. This morning, an urgent warning from the Centers of Disease Control to stop vaping. At least 5 people have died from a mysterious illness linked to e-cigarettes.
A-B-C.
24-year-old Janie Hernandez is one of the now hundreds of Americans suddenly struggling to breathe. A machine is breathing for him, in fact, right now. His doctors tell his family that his struggle started when he began using e-cigarettes 6 months ago, and he's not alone either. 5 people have died, and at least 450 people in 33 states have been seriously sickened. The breathing illness has not been tied to any single vaping device or liquid, although the CDC says many, but not all, were vaping THC, chemical that gives marijuana a color.
It's very hurtful to see your child in so much pain and not be able to help them.
Patients who develop this illness typically begin with flu-like symptoms and shortness of breath for several days. The CDC says it's best if everyone stops vaping. Hurricane Dorian is just off the coast and dumping some heavy rain and spinning off powerful winds along the Cape and the Yachts. And backer AJ Burnett has been in Chatham for us this morning, and he tells us the wind direction has been switching around there. You're looking live at the lighthouse, and some rain going sideways this morning. We'll be back right after the break.
That is odd looking. Hey, don't body shame my yak.
Target spotted.
You're gaining on us.
Quarters.
Upper County clear bound 353.
Fireline 241's on course.
you'll enter your 7 operator 122.
Shaking hands in a farm.
Field Road, Densport.
Sensor.
Station 1 medical arm, no visual contact. 21 Seafield Road, 21 Seafield Road, opposite Center Street, Densport, Island 564.
Introducing the Genesis G7. Genesis G7.
Station 1, age 39, 125 Main Street, Cape Winds Resort, 61-year-old female with abdominal pain.
Someone has it.
I need somebody help, not just anybody help. You know, I need someone.
Now getting a gust on Nantucket over 50 miles per hour, but those winds go all the way back into the Worcester area where we have light rain. Heaviest bands of rain on the Cape. These are going to taper off between 7 and 9 o'clock this morning. But look at this in Chatham over the next 12 hours. Strong winds through noontime, and then you can see those winds steadily decrease this afternoon as we brighten up the skies. So some improvements coming later today. Sunday's certainly the big day of the weekend, and that times out pretty good for the Patriots game tomorrow. If you're tailgating, sunshine near 70. It looks good for kickoff. Should be around 60 degrees, a little cool, but looking dry for that game tomorrow. Football weather, Rundell and Jen.
Perfect, too. Thank you, Cindy. Well, Sony is releasing an updated Walkman. Yeah, this comes just in time for the device's 40th anniversary, as it turns out. It was the first truly portable cassette player, and it came out back in 1979. This anniversary edition won't play cassettes, though. Its screensaver and soft case look like it does, but it's an Android-powered music player that can store up to 16 gigabytes, and it connects to Wi-Fi. This new retro version is a limited release, and it's going to set you back a little bit, $500.
That is crazy.
Right?
I cannot get it. I guarantee you I have one in the basement in a box, and I'll give it to you for $5.
Yeah.
With
Dig
the belt
around for
clip.
it. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's like the perfect accessory.
Did you have a Walkman?
I did. It played CDs.
Oh,
yeah. So I was kind of walking around campus and everything like that. Yeah.
Okay, it is 5:57. A new development in the college admissions scandal.
The sentencing recommendation for actress Felicity Huffman and the punishment her lawyers are pushing for now. Plus, setting sail off the coast of Boston, but there is nobody on this watercraft. Cutting edge way, it can help climate change, rare whales, and even windmills too. For now, a live look at the Bourne Rotary this morning. Looks pretty wet out there. Now there is one car making its way toward the Rotary at this point. It's 5:57. We do have 2 reporters down the Cape this morning keeping an eye on conditions, and we'll check in with them in just a couple of minutes.
Look at the Bourne Rotary
November
this morning.
17th is
Looks
National
pretty
Take
wet
a
out
Hike
there.
Day.
Not
At AARP, we're all about
now there
hikes.
is one
And
car
keeping
making
healthy,
its
that's why
way
we offer health tips for your body and your brain. Today is your day to make fitness happen, and AARP is here to help you take on today. Card declined? Usually a nightmare. Card declined when you're not the one using it. Huge relief. With Regions Lock It, you can get alerts when a transaction is blocked, so you can enjoy Taco Tuesday now and report the fraud later, because some things are bigger than banking.
Why spec harder rubber on city trucks? That's right. We know the exact equipment that'll fit your exact needs, keeping your profits out of the hole. That's how we deliver confidence.
September 7th and 8th.
The World Championship Chili Cook-Off comes to Des Moines.
17 bands and musicians on 2 stages.
Cold drinks and great food.
Advance tickets just $7.
Includes free chili tasting.
ChiliCookoff.com.
ChiliCookoff.com.
Everything you need to make your business go at Zorro.com.
From 21. Karen, it's 21. 105 on location. On location, if needed, you have a code.
I need somebody help, not just anybody.
Lieutenant, go around Park 1. Lieutenant Park 1. A1, you're on location. 601. Patient will be in the nurse's state.
Miles or so southeast of Nantucket. They were just kind of catching the edge of the wind and the rain. We do have those tropical storms and a high surf advisory that goes into
A2, you're at PCH.
even with
602.
rain stops and the skies brighten. It is not going to be safe to go into the water because of rough surf and the risk for rip currents going to be with us all day long. Look at these winds right now as Dorian is passing to our to 51 miles per hour in Nantucket. We're getting gusts over 30, even close to
She's going out.
Can you go again? You were all broken up.
Accidental trip for returning.
Received, I have that accidental trip.
To the island and all ferries to Martha's Vineyard are also seeing cancellations here in Hyannis.
has no electricity after the powerful storm surge there came ashore. About 1,000 miles south in the Bahamas, dozens are dead, and that number is expected to rise. Dorian made landfall there last weekend as a Category 5 hurricane. Entire communities were left. The victims have been waiting on the beaches for their turn to be evacuated. Lawmakers from Florida went down to visit the Bahamas Friday, and they're calling for the U.S. to take action.
No viable way right now to deliver food, fuel, and medicine there, and something needs to happen fairly quickly.
According to the UN, more than 70,000 people in the Bahamas are in need of food, water, and medicine.
Meantime, Mass General Hospital is sending a team to the Bahamas to help residents affected by Hurricane Dorian. A team of about 7 to 10 nurses and doctors will head to the island in the next week. They're coordinating the trip with a global humanitarian group. MGH says they may also send a second team of doctors and nurses to the Bahamas if needed. Now, Dorian is expected to impact our area for the next few hours. Go ahead and download the Boston 25 News weather app to track it using live radar. It's available right now, free for download.
A 5-year-old girl is among the latest to be diagnosed with triple E right here in Massachusetts. The state health department announced 2 new cases yesterday, one in Sudbury and one in Northborough. That now brings the total number of human cases in the state to 7 this year. And we know at least one person has died. Health officials are warning everybody that even though fall is approaching, that doesn't mean you should let your guard down.
Weather is getting here colder, and the native populations are starting to feel hard frost. Not just first frost, but the first hard frost.
We've learned the 5-year-old girl diagnosed with the virus is in critical condition. The other victim, we're told, is a woman in her 60s. Officials say they expect to see more cases in the coming weeks. Triple E was first identified in Massachusetts back in 1938. There's usually an outbreak every 10 to 20 years or so. Symptoms of the virus typically show up 3 to 10 days after a person is bitten by an infected mosquito. The disease progresses rapidly, and some people can't even walk to go home. About a third of people who get the virus will die. Those who don't often suffer long-term brain damage, but there are things you can do to reduce your risk, including using blood sugar.
Howard Fire Priority 2, 10 Pleasant Street.
It should be applied every 2 or 4 hours. Scent, heat, and the product should be.
Howard Station 1, Priority 2 for a fall down a half a flight of stairs. Bleeding from the back of the head and ankles at 10 Pleasant Street. 10 Pleasant Street, crosses Miles Street, in Sussex.
And there you can learn more about how to protect yourself and your pets from the virus this weekend.
A 57-year-old woman and an adult man have been hit by a car in Saugus. It happened on Broadway last night, which is also Route 99. Last night, we told you about 2 children who had been hit in this crash. Police now say the victims were a woman and a man. State police say that their crime scene services and accident reconstruction team were out assisting Saugus police. No word yet on the condition of the victims. The driver did remain on scene. The suspect in a carjacking in Boston. Stolen SUV yesterday on an overpass near Sturrow Drive. He then reportedly drove the wrong way down the road, hitting several cars. The carjacked car then rolled over on Wilson Street.
Not guilty of these charges.
Well, they battled mayor of Baltimore, maintaining his innocence as he faces federal charges. These new charges include extorting marijuana businesses. Mayor James Correa was already charged in 2018 with defrauding tech investors. Investigators say the mayor used this money to fund a lavish lifestyle.
Not guilty of these charges.
James Correa gave a really brief statement after he was arraigned.
Alarm ambulance 74 is on with 3 ALS.
My staff,
and I'm going to
continue to do great things for our city.
He's accused of accepting a Rolex watch.
condition of getting and keeping her job, his chief of staff agreed to give Correa about half of her $78,000 salary.
Correa was elected mayor of Fall River. He was 23 years old. In 2018, the federal government charged him with calling investors for an app that he created. They say he used $230,000 of their money to buy Mercedes, pay off debt, and fund luxurious travel and designer clothes. The allegations.
Residents of the city that he is supposed to lead.
Correa pleaded not guilty and was released on a $250,000 bond. Now, despite the 2018 charges, Correa won his recall election earlier this year. He's now running for re-election. And that election will take place later this month.
The Boston firefighters called the dog facing charges. Kevin Harrison of Randolph pleaded not guilty to indecent assault and battery of a teenager Wednesday. He's also charged with wounded and cold. Harrison was released on personal recognizance order to say he was the victim. He's back in court this month.
Prosecutors say they will drop the charges against 12 people who refused to stop protesting inside Amazon's office in Cambridge this week. That demonstration Thursday night started at the Holocaust Museum in Boston and included a march through the streets into Cambridge. Undocumented immigrants. 12 protesters were arrested Thursday night for trespassing. The prosecutors said they will not pursue the charges because their demonstration Thursday was peaceful. We talked with one of the protesters as they walked out of court Friday, and she told us Amazon's cooperation with ICE is only enabling more treatment of immigrants here in the U.S.
And actually is the infrastructure that makes all of the front of the
We did reach out to Amazon, but the company still has not commented.
For her role in the college scandal, prosecutors are reportedly recommending Huffman serve a month behind bars and pay a $20,000 fine. They also want her to be on probation for a year. Huffman pleaded guilty to paying $15,000 to have a proctor correct the answers on her daughter's SAT test. Huffman's attorneys had a late filing yesterday that included letters of support from other Hollywood celebrities. They requested a fine and community service as punishment. Well, new this morning, the House Judiciary Committee is reportedly taking formal steps to begin the impeachment process against President Trump. Sources tell both CNN and Politico that the committee is planning to vote next week on the investigation procedures. The vote will lay out the groundwork for conducting hearings. The president of Michigan State is speaking out about the sexual assault scandal involving former Dr. Larry Nassar. Coming up, the lesson he says school leaders have learned following the case.
But first, baking cakes for a good cause. How one family's recipe without finding fear.
One's coming in and tracking the rain out of here. Coming up.
BuyAToyota.com.
And right now getting those fresh damage reports coming in. This one from East Dennis, wires down on Setauket Avenue there at Airline Road. So this is the kind of thing we want to watch out for this morning. We're going to get Dorian out away from us shortly, tracking its every move coming up.
Well, it's been a busy week for the volunteers working quickly to bake hundreds of chocolate cakes in time for this weekend. As Boston 25 News reporter Jim Morelli learned, those cakes could be the key to one day curing a rare form of cancer.
He was born in September and died.
Tim is the second of our 4 boys. At the age of 8, he was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia.
For Joanne O'Connell, that makes this month not just a time to remember her late son Tim, but a time to think.
All right, could you shut that thing? This was my husband's idea as a good fundraiser because the chocolate cake was Tim's favorite thing in the whole world.
And thus were born Timmy Cakes. The first year, Joanne remembers baking 80 of them.
Everybody loves the frosting.
This year, the group is aiming for around 300 cakes baked in a little more than 3 days to be sold this weekend at a church in House.
So I do the measuring in advance of all the dry ingredients, and then we come here and bake, frost, and ship them out.
Here is the Clark Showroom Test Kitchen and Builder, which donates space to the effort.
I take the week off work to do this.
While up to 100 volunteers donate their time.
Kim was in my second year class.
After that diagnosis, 2 days after turning 10. But in his memory, Salem became his mother. Flour, sugar, cocoa, and butter, the basic ingredients to the Timmy cake.
Just a good old-fashioned cake.
Baked in loving memory every September. In Milford, Jim Morelli.
Let's get right to it. About an hour before we go on the air at 6 o'clock, we meet with Jason to go over the highlights and the weather forecast for every morning. And I bring that up because you mentioned you talked about the miles per hour out there moving gusts. And just recently, they jumped big time from 20 towards the 5, so we're seeing an increase in those gusts.
That's right, yeah, gusts were up 50, 55 here a couple of hours ago. Getting those fresh reports just in 60, 63. So all of this ramping up, and I expect the peak of Dorian winds here over the next couple of hours, and then we'll begin to see some improvement. But this is the kind of wind, the leaves on the trees, is the kind of wind that does some damage. We are getting some tree power line damage, of course, not widespread, but it's going to be an issue out there. There's a peak on top of us right now at 63. Nantucket trying to catch up at 63, and the Nantucket Shoal buoy well offshore reporting hurricane force winds closer to the center of Dorian, making its closest path right now about 140 miles southeast of Nantucket with a large storm. Those tropical storm force winds going way out from the center and coming on shore here this morning, at least on Nantucket sustained. Right now, low 60s on the Cape, and the heavy rain there, at least from the Cape eastward. Upper 50s, Boston, not near as much rain as Kevin was showing you last night. You get up to southern New Hampshire, quite a few showers as well. Right down to Nantucket.
Fire alarm, station 5, ambulance 36. Respond to number 6 Flex Court. Off Old Meeting House Road. ambulance 36 to 6 Flex Court to Old Meeting House Road for possible stroke. 619.
We'll see if these light showers off and on here inland over the next couple of hours before improvement. Meantime, high surf advisory continues for the southern facing beaches through the early evening, and then the eastern beaches get that for tomorrow morning as that swells to wrap around the backside of the hurricane. Tropical storm warnings continue to take the island until further notice. We're going to have to get these winds down before we can really get rid of those tropical storm warnings. Currently, it's not the sustained winds that are causing the problem. We're getting near sustained winds of tropical storm force on Nantucket. It comes to forecast about a 40% probability for sustained tropical storm winds on Nantucket and much lower probabilities going north and west. But it's the gusts. We're getting these mini severe thunderstorms without the thunder coming through. We've got gusts around 50 on Nantucket right now. Even tropical storm force at the Plymouth Airport, remember, that is inland, so right along the beach in the South Shore, you're feeling those gusty winds battering you there. This is 11 in the morning. We're getting improvement, but still have some gusty winds on the Cape and at least Nantucket through early afternoon, and then we're out of that tropical storm gust zone. And for your evening plans tonight, there's a gentle breeze. Temperatures today on the normal side for this time of the year, although with clouds around, it'll feel a little bit cooler. Temps in the upper 60s to the lower 70s. I do expect some sunshine from west to east during the afternoon traffic on the future path coming up in the next half hour. We're improving greatly as we head to cookouts out to Gillette tomorrow. Next week, chances of storm returns by the middle of the week. Governor Baker wants to make sure everyone in Massachusetts has safe drinking water. Coming up, we'll show you his plan.
36 on 621.
From the water source. Plus, keeping an eye on children's social media accounts to identify possible threats. Controversial new program being used in schools all across the country.
You want it? It's extended at Brockman's. 40 to 60% off, plus a $100 instant discount. No interest for up to 48 months with no money down and free delivery. The Labor Day sale extended through Monday at Brockman's.
36, take Old Meeting House Road, up past Old Barnstable Road.
It's our fastest bet.
Flex Court will be on your left. Number 6 will be the first house on the left.
Safety technology comes at no additional cost, as does it get to.
First call, 1 firefighter. 7-4. Just looking for a status check, sir. So we're going to be committed all set. Seems committed all set.
Sometimes it takes that long to make
Fire alarm is all set on coverage.
You want it? It's extended at Brockman's. 40 to 60. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We began tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3-alarm fire. This wintry mix is moving in during the late night hours. Live as it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
You want it? It's extended at Brockman's.
Police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before. On top of breaking news.
We have breaking news coming into Boston 25 Newsroom.
We'll have the latest details as they're happening. Start your day off right. Boston 25 Morning News. When severe weather strikes. Live weather.
You can see the rain stretching across the area. Heavier stuff into out towards the west.
We're committed to keeping you safe.
the people who are out there hopefully are taking cover and making sure they're out of the path of this storm.
Live coverage. That could lead to a chance of severe storm
from before it hits.
Check out these winds today. We could see 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts.
Until after it's gone. Always be prepared with a Boston 25 weather team.
The president of Michigan State University is now speaking out about the scandal involving former USA Today Dr. Larry Nassar. The school was recently handed down a $4.5 million fine over how they handled the sexual assault allegations involving the doctor. The president says the case will serve as a, quote, blueprint for action for any future cases like this one.
Hope you find my administration is committed to taking the actions, making the changes necessary to address the weaknesses and failures of the system and the people who intentionally or not failed to address the root causes of this abuse.
Nassar is sentenced to decades in prison for sexually assaulting more than 250 athletes, including several Olympic gold medalists.
Well, we all know that young people are putting more and more of their lives on social media, and a controversial new program posts prevent mass shootings. The company Sentinel is working with hundreds of schools in 36 states. They use algorithms to identify and flag threatening posts. This system then alerts educators and law enforcement. While many are praising the system, others are worried it's an invasion of privacy.
I do not want to make things available to us normal, whether that's on the sidewalk or in the classroom.
School Sentinel argues it's not surveillance, saying it only uses publicly available data. Some relief for those battling in the Amazon rainforest. They're fighting those fires there in Brazil. Rain fell on parts of the forest for 4 hours this week. The showers fell on one of the area's worst hit by the ongoing fires. The Brazilian government recently stepped up efforts to fight the flames. Members of the G7 also agreed to last month's summit to pledge $20 million in aid to the area.
Former Vice President Joe Biden continued his campaign for president Friday after the Democratic presidential hopeful hosted a town hall in Laconia. After leaving the Lakes region, Biden then headed for the seacoast. He also hosted a town hall-style event in Newcastle. According to the latest polling, Biden remains the frontrunner out of all the Democrats for the nomination. Meantime, California Senator Kamala Harris is also in New Hampshire this weekend. Harris stopped in Londonderry and Portsmouth campaign events Friday, and then later today, she'll be speaking at a forum for veterans and military families in Manchester. In a lot of recent polls, Harris has been polling fourth among all 20 Democrats in the presidential race. Beto O'Rourke, former Texas congressman, held a town hall at Tufts University yesterday, plans to continue campaigning in New England today. O'Rourke will be attending events in New Hampshire throughout this Saturday. He'll make appearances in Manchester, Somersworth, and Durham. And Massachusetts' own Senator Elizabeth Warren is campaigning alongside fellow 2020 hopefuls. She'll be at a New Hampshire Democratic Party convention later this month.
Right now, Dorian making its closest pass well offshore from Nantucket, tracking advances of heavy rain, getting some high wind gusts from 60 miles an hour.
Dorian making its mark in New England. Coming up, the cancellation of ferries to Nantucket. I'm Martha Figure.
You want it? It's extended at Rockman's. 40 to 60% off, plus a $100 instant discount. No interest for up to 48 months with no money down and free delivery. The Labor Day sale extended through Monday at Rockman's. The Toyota Tacoma is not just a truck. It's who you are. Strong. Capable. Just like you, it's tough and authentic. For almost 30 years, Toyota has built the best, most durable, go-anywhere truck that do anything Tacoma. It's the truck that breaks barriers, not the bank. And it's always there to help keep its friends safe. The authentic Toyota Tacoma. The truck, that's you. Toyota, let's go places. 30 years ago, that hot new silver was Search for Boston 25 News and enable this skill. For more information, go to boston25news.com. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3-alarm fire. These showers will begin overnight are going to make it a wet commute.
Live as it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live at the government center T-Stop.
Dayton police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
Already making sure they're out of the path of this storm.
Live coverage.
That could lead to a chance of severe storms
from before it hits.
Check out these winds today. We could see 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts.
Until after it's gone. Always be prepared with the Boston 25 weather team. Boston 25 morning news continues right now.
Tropical storm warning is in effect for the Cape and the islands this morning as Hurricane Dorian continues to move up the east coast. You're taking a live look here at the Bourne Rotary, which is getting a lot of wind and rain this morning, as well as other parts of the Cape.
Yeah, we're tracking that all morning long. It is 6:30 on your Saturday, September 7th. Some wind gusts are actually between 45 to 55 miles per hour hitting the area this morning. Boston 25 meteorologist Jason Brewer is here now. Jason, you're saying those strong winds will last for at least a few more hours.
Yeah, I expect the peak of the winds here through the next couple of hours, and then Dorian begins its march away, right now making its closest pass here this morning. It's about 140 miles away from Nantucket, but it's doing some damage. We're getting some isolated tree and power line damage. P-Town down to Nantucket, right through the mid-Cape, where the heaviest rain is. Locally, we've had gusts 60 to 63. Well, fleet to P-Town, Nantucket so far, it's 53. Even Rhode Island up to 58. That's like a severe thunderstorm coming through without the thunder, just those gusts coming by and knocking down some trees. And those are falling on the power line. This is a large branch down Great Western Road, just east of Depot Street there on the Cape over there toward Dennis. There's Dorian's latest 85-mile-an-hour hurricane, solid Cat 1 moving up to Nova Scotia this afternoon. They are bracing for that. If you're heading out to the sports this morning, bring along your umbrellas. We've got some leftover rain, but improvement right through the afternoon. And I expect just a nice, quiet Saturday. The rest of the weekend looks great. I'll track this rain with future tasks in a few minutes. Let's go back.
Well, as Jason continues to track this storm, we are also keeping an eye on the conditions on the Cape this morning.
That's right. This weather causing issues for people who are traveling to and from Nantucket, as you can imagine. Boston 25 News reporter Natalie Rubino is live in Hyannisport this morning. And Natalie, we already know a couple ferries have been canceled.
Jason, all AM ferries from Hyannisport to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard are canceled this morning. So if you do have plans to go to the island, make sure you check that ferry schedule later this afternoon. Now, right now we're just seeing rain, and we know that makes for a choppy ocean. Dorian certainly making it a weekend to remember for many people here. We know that there are about 40 different weddings on Nantucket this weekend. That's causing people from all over to get their flights changed or to hop on earlier ferries like we saw yesterday. Now, also, there was a huge event here in Hyannis this weekend, the Hyannis Triathlon that was scheduled for this morning but has actually been canceled because they were fearing the athletes would have a dangerous swim on the choppy waters this morning. We talked to organizers about why they came to that decision. There's a lot of athletes that are a little anxious about the swim anyway, so they're predicting, waves that, 6 feet plus. That could be a little bit of a problem out there. So we'll keep everybody safe. A couple of those athletes have actually scheduled their own pop-up races for tomorrow. Many of them came in from out of town. Monitoring the weather, seeing if they will be able to run those additional ferries. But the soonest you can leave Hyannisport is 11 o'clock this morning. We'll have updates for you throughout the morning show, but for now, live in Hyannisport, Natalie Rubino, Boston 25 News.
All right, Natalie, thank you. We are keeping an eye on power outages this morning, too. Right now, more than 800 Eversource customers are without electricity. The majority of those are in Barnstable and Yarmouth. National Grid has less than 200 power outages. Most of those are in Boston.
The hurricane has been affecting people in Massachusetts long before this weekend. Jennifer and Kevin Conway, who are from Chicopee right there, got married this summer. Well, 2 weeks ago, they left on their honeymoon, a cruise that left from Tampa, Florida. They were supposed to make several stops on the Cayman Islands and South America, but their trip was cut short because they were on a cruise. They didn't even know about Dorian until their cruise actually changed. The Conways said once they got back to Tampa a day early, they had a hard time finding a hotel because they were booked by the Floridians there. A honeymoon cut short, but the couple says they're glad everyone was safe. Well, we're going to continue to track the remnants of Dorian and the effects it's had on people in the Bahamas and all along the East Coast over the past week. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can donate to help these folks, go ahead and head to Boston25.com/more.
Happening today, the state police dive team will continue its search for a missing man in Concord. Right now, they're searching for a 53-year-old man out of Cambridge. Investigators searched around Walden Pond yesterday. They say they found personal items at the pond that indicate the man was there earlier this week.
A federal judge said Uber did not break any laws by operating in Boston before ride-hailing legislation was passed on Beacon Hill. 36 cab companies have sued Uber. The judge yesterday ruled lawyers for the cab union.
Answering 36.
$15
Notify
drinking water PFAS contamination. Another $20 million.
Notifying South Hospital stroke alert. 656.
Cover the danger of PFAS, a chemical that is also found in firefighting foam. And new money comes after the Department of Environmental Protection detected high levels of PFAS in public water in 8 communities.
Roughly 40% of students in Massachusetts are people of color, but 92% of the teachers here are white. Now, teachers in Wayland are hoping to change that by taking their recruitment efforts down south. Administrators went to UNC Chapel Hill and North Carolina State last May. Their goal was to find teachers willing to relocate to the north and diversify their staff. They say research shows a diverse group of teachers can really help students of color perform better in school.
Staff members of color in the building just improve their experiences. So that's the ultimate goal, to make sure that we're giving all of our kids a really high quality education.
The team from Wayland is actually going back to North Carolina multiple times this year to recruit and to go to other colleges.
A major effort to help local veterans get the resources that they need. More than 100 federal, state, and local agencies and nonprofits got together yesterday in Boston to hold an event. An event medical care, housing assistance, and options for mental health services. This is part of a brand new effort in Boston to try and help support veterans in our area.
Although these services are available daily to veterans, this creates an event that really honors the service and makes it one stop and very efficient for veterans to seek information, who are seeking information and services to get connected.
Massachusetts is very veteran friendly, and when we have all these different vendors here, that just reinforces that story.
The New England Center and Home for Veterans says it plans to hold more events just like this one.
As health officials try to figure out how to curb the vaping epidemic, a local lawmaker thinks he has a solution. The e-cigarette buyback program won state reps.
And parents know a lot of kids start their fall sports this weekend. Coming up, the reason local doctors are encouraging students to play more than one sport.
And there's a sharp cutoff to the soaking rain this morning that I'm keeping track of. Right around an inch on the Cape so far, getting close to 3 inches estimated on radar on Nantucket. I'm tracking Dorian coming up.
BuyAToyota.com is Toyota's official website for deals. See every official Toyota deal up there, including offers not seen on TV. BuyAToyota.com, when you officially want the best deal. Toyota, let's go places.
You want it? It's extended at Rockman's. 40 to 60% off. Plus $100 instant discount. No interest for up to 48 months with no money down and free delivery. The Labor Day sale extended through Monday at Rockman's.
30 years ago, that hot new cell phone was probably was probably a lot like this. May have been this. Acton Toyota. Come celebrate with us. Just download the Alexa app, log into your Amazon account, search for Boston 25 News, and enable this skill. For more information, go to boston25news.com. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the Cedar on fire. This wintry mix is moving in during the late night hours live.
Yes, it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live with the Government Center T-Stop.
Native police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
We are live.
Urging people to stop using e-cigarettes after at least 5 people have died from a vaping-related respiratory illness. Right now, the CDC is investigating 450 cases of that illness, spanning across 33 states in the U.S. The FDA says it has tested 120 product samples and so far has not been able to identify a single brand, ingredient, or substance that might explain this lung disease. In LA County, health officials have called for a moratorium on vaping. For now, the CDC is asking everyone to stay away from e-cigarettes. So what should you know if you smoke e-cigarettes? Well, the CDC says there are certain signs to look for. If you are coughing, have shortness of breath, chest pain, nausea, or vomiting, they say you should seek medical help right away.
Now, the Massachusetts state representative has a new idea to try and combat vaping among teens. State Representative Paul Brodeur says educators need help. So now he's proposing a new kind of buyback program. Now, his idea is as teachers seize vaping materials from the students in school, they send them back to the manufacturers who then cut a check to the school for the retail price. He says schools can use that money to educate students about the risk and dangers of vaping.
Got to grasp this idea that I think it really sets a problem with the industry that has said we don't want to sell to kids. Well, this is an opportunity for them to put some skin in the game.
According to MakeSmokingHistory.org, 41% of high school students right here in Massachusetts say they've tried e-cigarettes. The American Vaping Association says they would be open to discussing Representative Brodeur's proposal if he proposes a similar buyback program for alcohol, recreational marijuana, and regular cigarettes. It is back to school and back to sports for a lot of students meantime in Massachusetts, but for student athletes who play the same sport year-round, local doctors are warning about the increased risk of injury. A sports medicine doctor at Brigham and Women's told the Boston Globe 50% of the injuries they see in middle and high schoolers would be preventable if the students were playing the same sport year-round. They say they often see stress fractures from certain foams being used over and over again, which puts kids at a higher risk for stunted or abnormal growth. Doctors say while youth sports are beneficial physically and mentally, it is important to switch up the games every once in a while.
All right, today is like Christmas for a lot of Patriots fans. The Pats will be back at Gillette. The player that says he's ready to get back on the field is back to work.
But first, they make up nearly a third of the MBTA's ridership, but rarely get the attention. Next, the major changes coming to the T's bus system.
And we're keeping a close eye on the Cape of the Islands this morning as Hurricane Dorian moves through. We have a live report from Hyannisport coming up at the top of the hour.
BuyAToyota.com is Toyota's official website for deals. See every official Toyota deal up there, including offers not seen on TV. BuyAToyota.com, when you officially want the best deal. Toyota. Boston 25 Morning News. 6 hours of local coverage. Sarah and Gene with today's headlines.
Sky 25 over the scene.
Boston police are searching for a missing man.
We just got on scene. The details coming in.
Sherry and Catherine have weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
You'll need to have your rain gear on hand. Here's Catherine with a look at the roads. Fortunately, we don't have any of that weather right now.
Lily and Daniel with what's happening now.
We have breaking news coming in from Boston 25 newsroom.
We'll have the latest details as they're happening. Start your day off right. Boston 25 Morning News. When severe weather strikes.
A wet, stormy night ahead. Potential for dangerous lightning and strong winds.
Turn to Boston 25 weather.
We can see the rain stretched across the area. Heavier stuff is out towards the west.
We're committed to keeping you safe.
The people who are out there hopefully are taking cover and making sure they're out of the path of this storm.
And Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3-alarm fire. This wintry mix is moving in during the late night hours.
Live. Yes, it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
Is there a T-stop?
Data police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
Morning. The team is doing a full revamp of the bus routes for the first time in about 11 years.
We have to be the one to tell some MBTA passengers at Liberty Plaza about the change. The bus is not coming here.
Oh, yeah.
Not here. They changed it, so you have to go to Maverick Street. As part of its Better Bus project, the MBTA will use this stop to speed up service and reliability in the East Boston.
I like that it's a little faster. So I'm like shopping.
It's a Cat 22.
It is, but I think I prefer to be a little faster.
So what other preferences do you have? Think quick, because for the next month, the MBTA is taking your proposals, and as you can imagine, people have ideas about everything.
There is no Saturday morning he can get up here and get a bus to go to work. I have to drive him. And guess what? They raise the fare.
It's very difficult to get across now and like going from JP to Harvard Square to JFK.
On the side it says priority seating, and it has like elderly, disabled, and you don't see women with strollers or children.
They're being getting slow, breaking down, getting on fire, and you're gonna know how you can improve it. That's better technology.
The MBTA says it will read all proposals, and its main objective is to address increasing congestion, changing demographics.
So it's a good thing that that way everyone can feel, oh, we got what we asked for. Well, we did it.
All they use Boston 25 News.
The teaser has already gotten hundreds of responses about this. If you'd like to send them your idea, we posted a link to that on our website, boston25news.com.
This is a Boston 25 weather alert.
Those wind gusts up about 60 miles an hour. Cape Town, Wellfleet checking in at 60, Nantucket 53, and Rhode Island at 58. There, Charlestown along the coastline. Rockport, Edgartown about 50. So those gusts are doing some damage to trees and power lines, isolated, but nevertheless, something we got to be concerned about heading out early this morning on the Cape and Islands. Let's take a look at the big picture. Dorian's about 140 miles offshore the Cat 1 hurricane. We're feeling those heavy rain bands coming into the mid and outer Cape. And we have a few spotty showers going north and westward. Even a little bit of sunshine trying to peek out here at sunrise as you get back into central and western Mass. Taking a look at the up-close view of the radar, look at the trends here. We are already wrapping up the intensity of the rain on Nantucket. Right now, the worst of it is from P-Town, right near Barnesville out toward Chatham. Meantime, in Boston, a few onshore moving showers and some spotty light rain and drizzle up to southern New Hampshire. So it's a dreary morning, but look at these rain totals, almost absent in Logan. 0.03, a sharp cutoff in nor'easter, right? And then down here on the Cape, we've got an inch of rain, about 2 inches on Nantucket so far, and a half inch around Keene, reported from that earlier squeeze-out shower that we had in the night. Meantime, high surf advisories continue through the afternoon down to the south coast, and they'll continue through the early morning hours of tomorrow for our east-facing beaches. All that water is turned up and
heading into our coastline. The winds are gusting. Right now, not sustained winds in tropical storm force. We've had that at Wellfleet. Also, Nantucket sustained at almost that. Tropical storm warning conditions actually verified. And right now, it's those gusts that are really the ones creating problems. Getting gusts up around 45 in Plymouth even, and that's inland. So you know along the shoreline, we're getting some tropical storm gusts. 51 right now. Down, we're in the upper 30s here towards the middle of the day on the Cape. Then by 8 o'clock tonight, we've got a nice breeze out there, clear skies, we're in good shape for weekend night plans. Let's take a look at futurecast rain. Notice how we're improving here. At 10 in the morning, steady rains off the Cape. We just have a few spotty leftover showers out there in drizzly areas. And then during the afternoon, the sunshine's breaking out from west to east. They stay a little bit gloomier along the immediate coastline, leaving those clouds move away into the evening. And we should be in good shape for the rest of the weekend. Plenty of bright skies there for Sunday. Temperatures climbing on into the middle 70s. Those offshore winds will allow the beach to recover as well. You're heading to opening night tomorrow night. We've got great weather, tailgating and sunshine from clear by the end of the day. We've got 60 degrees going into 60 down July. Monday, Tuesday are fine. Wednesday into Thursday. Our next run, shower.
All right, got it, Dick. Today was a good night for Red Sox fans at Fenway. The players had 3 hits to help lead the team to a victory over the Yankees.
BuyAToyota.com is Toyota's official website for deals. See every official Toyota deal up there, including offers not seen on TV. BuyAToyota.com, when you officially want the best deal. Toyota, let's go places.
You want it? It's extended at Brockman's. 40 to 60% off, plus $100 instant discount. No interest for up to 48 months with no money down and free delivery.
Funds for blood cancer treatments and cures. Register at lifethenite.org.
Boston 25 News is now on Alexa. Get the latest breaking news, weather, and local stories. Just download the Alexa app, log into your Amazon account, search for Boston 25 News, and enable this skill. For more information, go to boston25news.com. Boston 25 News is now on Alexa. Get the latest breaking news, weather, and local stories. Just download the Alexa app, log into your Amazon account, search for Boston 25 News, and enable this skill. For more information, go to boston25news.com. Boston 25 Morning News. 6 hours of local coverage. Sarah and Gene with today's headlines.
Sky 25 over the sea.
Boston police are searching for a missing man.
We just got on scene. Details coming in.
Sherry and Catherine have weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
So we'll need to have your rain gear on hand. Here's Catherine with a look at the roads. Fortunately, we don't have any of that weather right now.
Lily and Daniel with what's happening now.
We have breaking news coming into the Boston 25 newsroom.
We'll have the latest details as they're happening. Start your day off right. Boston 25 Morning News. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3-alarm fire. These showers will begin overnight are going to make it a wet commute.
Live as it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live with the government center at G-Stop.
Native police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
We are live in Boston with late-breaking details.
Get it all on Boston 25 News at 10 and 11. Every morning, weather and traffic every 10 minutes with Sherry and Catherine.
We've got heavy rain on live radar. The expressway is still pretty busy.
On Boston 25 Morning News. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3-alarm fire. This wintry mix is moving in during the late night hours.
Live as it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live with the government center at G-Stop.
Native police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
We are live in Boston with late-breaking details.
Get it all on Boston 25 News at 10 and 11.
making his Sox debut, hold the Yankees 3 hits. 4:05 today, Jay Happ will pitch against undecided. Started for the Sox right now. High school game day coverage started with a bang in Marshfield last night. Situate defending 5 champions with a blocked punt on the first series of the game. Pat DiMatteo scooped and scored, and 7-0 Situate. Marshfield had some solid blocking and running. Junior Preston Van Fleet, but Situate was just too much. Will Shesky goes for 95 yards and 2 scores, 24-0 in the final. Situate has won 12 in a row. Watch this catch by Nate Gould coming up. Goes up, comes down, and he gets it. One more time on the super slow-mo instant replay. Get a lot of money at this station. 24-0 Situate wins. Sox and Yankees. 4 o'clock traffic to college football.
All right, Butch, we'll see you then. Boy, a rocky morning for people waking up on the Cayman Islands this morning. Winds and heavy rain moving through the area. We are following the forecast, and we'll tell you the status of the ferries that are heading to and from Nantucket with a live report at Jason Brewer, News at 7.
Yeah, you bet it. Right now, the rain starting to let up on Nantucket. We have some minor coastal flooding in the harbor thanks to a 2-foot surge and the approaching high tide. Tracking rain when it moves south coming up.
And the threat for Tripoli remains high this weekend, where 2 new cases were detected, including one in a young girl.
The Toyota Tacoma is not just a truck. It's who you are. Strong. Capable. For almost 30 years, Toyota has built the best, most durable, go-anywhere truck that do anything Tacoma. It's the truck that breaks barriers, not the bank. And it's always there to help keep its spread safe. The authentic Toyota Tacoma. The truck that's you. You want it. It's extended. Get the latest breaking news, weather, and local stories. Just download the Alexa app, log into your Amazon account, and search for Boston 25 News, and enable this skill. For more information, go to boston25news.com. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We began tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3-alarm fire. These showers will begin overnight are going to make it a wet commute.
Live as it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live with the government center at T-Stop.
Basic police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
We are live in Boston with late-breaking details.
Get it all on Boston 25 News at 10 and 11. Watch, learn, know.
Good morning, everybody.
A lot of clouds out there for your drive into work. Will be the first.
Surveillance
It's all about the Red Sox.
weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
So it is still chilly out there. 3 line delays up to 10 minutes.
Watch, learn, know. Boston 25 Morning News. Thank you for being with us this morning. Weekdays from 4 to 10 a.m. Boston 25 Morning News. 6 hours of local coverage. Sarah and G with today's headlines.
Sky 25 over the scene.
Boston police are searching for a missing man.
We just got on scene with details coming in.
Sherry and Catherine have weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
We need to have your rain gear on hand. Here's Catherine with a look at the road. Fortunately, we don't have any of that weather right now.
Lily and Daniel with what's happening now.
We have breaking news coming into the Boston 25 newsroom.
We'll have the latest details as they're happening. Start your day off right. Boston 25 Morning News.
coming in. Sherry and Cat right now. Weather and traffic every 10 minutes. You need to have your rain gear on hand. Here's Catherine with a look at the road. Fortunately, don't have any of that weather right now. What's happening now? Boston 25 Morning News starts right now.
Hurricane Dorian is moving up the East Coast, and this morning it's affecting our area. This is a live look at Hyannisport. The Cape and the islands are under a tropical storm warning, and they've already seen about an inch of rain. Thanks for joining us here on the Boston 25 News. It is just about 7:05 on your Saturday, September 7th. I'm Crystal Haynes in for Heather Hedges.
And I'm Jason Long. Can't tell through that live shot there in Hyannisport, but it is getting pretty windy down there. Boston 25 News meteorologist Jason Burr has been watching Dorian's path for more than a week now. He's here with how long it'll be affecting us in New England.
Yeah, this time last weekend we were watching it on approach to the Bahamas, and now we have Dorian as a Cat 1, 140 miles east of Nantucket, or east-southeast there, and we're getting a lot of rain on the Cape and wind gusts above 60 miles an hour. P-Town to Barnstable to Nantucket. Look at the radar returns, though. Improving. The heaviest of the rain looks to be over. The gusts, though, we're still watching those over the next couple of hours. 60, 63, Wellfleet, P-Town topping the list so far. There goes Dorian headed for Nova Scotia this afternoon, where hurricane warnings are up. Here's a look at Futurecast. Your 10 a.m. forecast, still a little drizzle, but the steady rain is out of here. As winds turn northwesterly, that drizzle threat is over. We end up with a little afternoon sunshine. East inland, the temperatures climb up into the upper 60s and lower 70s. We're fine for evening plans tonight. We've got a lot of wave action out there. High surf advisories close to the tropical storm conditions still through the morning. Natalie Rubino has been out live in Hyannisport for us. Good morning, Natalie.
Good morning to you. Now, the rain has slowed down just a little bit, but as you can see, the wind is picking up. We're on the High Line port here in Hyannis. Water behind me. Now, we're keeping a close eye on the ferry schedule to Nantucket. The 6:10 a.m. ferry to Nantucket was canceled earlier. Now, also the 8:30 a.m. ferry to Nantucket on the High Line is canceled. All other ferries on the High Line are being run on a case-by-case basis. Over at Steamship Authority, just across the water there, they canceled their 6:30 a.m. ferry and their 9:15 a.m. ferry to the island. All ferries from here to Martha's Vineyard are also seeing cancellations. Now, Dorian is certainly making its mark on New England. It's going to be a weekend to remember for many. We spoke to people who are rushing over to Nantucket. There's about 40 weddings on Nantucket this weekend. We spoke to people yesterday trying to get there ahead of schedule so that they won't miss these important ceremonies. We spoke to one woman who rearranged her flight from Virginia, another woman who made sure she got here a day early to get over to an island. They say they just want to make sure they get to the ceremony.
Swim if we had to get this wedding.
We're happy to be here. We're happy we made it, and that the airlines and the ferry could accommodate us.
The next ferry over to Nantucket on both lines isn't until after 11 o'clock this morning, and we're told there's still a chance that they could see cancellations. So if you do plan to go over to the islands, make sure you check the websites beforehand to make sure that ferry doesn't end up getting canceled. Blog updates for you all morning on the morning show, but for now, live in Hyannisport, Natalie Rubino, Boston 25 News.
All right, Natalie, thank you. The Bahamas and parts of the U.S. right now picking up the pieces after Dorian tore through those areas. In North Carolina, emergency officials are working hard to evacuate hundreds of people who can't get off the Outer Banks. Helicopters this weekend to try and airlift people homes that are flooded. North Carolina's governor says parts of the Outer Banks are still without electricity this morning. 1,000 miles south in the Bahamas, dozens are dead, and that number is expected to rise. Dorian made landfall there last weekend as a Category 5 hurricane and just stalled. Entire communities were leveled, and victims have been waiting on the beaches for their turn to get off the islands. Lawmakers from Florida visited the Bahamas yesterday, and they're calling for the U.S. to take action.
No viable way right now to consistently deliver food, fuel, and medicine there. And something needs to happen fairly quickly.
According to the United Nations, more than 70,000 people in the Bahamas are still in need of food, water, and medicine.
Meantime, Mass General Hospital is sending a team to the Bahamas to help residents affected by Hurricane Dorian. A team of about 7 to 10 nurses and doctors will head to the islands in the next week. They're coordinating the trip with a global humanitarian group. MGH says they may also send a second team of doctors and nurses to the Bahamas if they need to. Now, Dorian is expected to impact our area for at least the next few hours. Download the Boston 25 News weather app to track it and use the live radar feature. It's available for free right now.
A 5-year-old girl is among the latest people to be diagnosed with triple E right here in Massachusetts. The State Health Department announced 2 new human cases Friday, one in Sudbury and one in Northborough. That now brings the total number of human cases in the state to 7. We know at least one person has died. Health officials are warning everybody that even though fall is approaching, it doesn't mean you should let your guard down.
The weather is beginning to turn cooler, and mosquito populations are starting to decrease. Some risk from triple E is going to continue until the first hard frost. Not just the first frost, but the first hard frost.
Well, a 5-year-old girl diagnosed with the virus is in critical condition right now. The other victim is a woman in her 60s. Officials say they expect to see more cases in the coming weeks. Triple E was first identified in Massachusetts back in 1938, and there's usually an outbreak every 10 or 20 years. Symptoms of the virus show up 3 to 10 days after a person is bitten by an infected mosquito. The disease progresses rapidly, and some people can even fall into a coma. About a third of the people who get the virus will die. Those who don't often suffer long-term brain damage. But there are some things you can do right now this weekend to reduce your risk, and you're looking at one of them. That includes using bug spray with DEET.
By far, the best insect repellent should be applied every 2 to 4 hours. The percent of DEET in the product should be between 10 and 30%.
In addition to using DEET, it's also recommended that people in at-risk areas limit their activity from dusk until dawn. Wear long pants, long-sleeve shirts to cover any exposed skin, and make sure to drain any standing water near your home. For more information about the communities at the highest risk for Triple E this weekend, you can head to our website at Boston25news.com. You can learn more about how to protect yourself and your pets from the virus.
712 now, and a 57-year-old woman and an adult man have been hit by a car in Saugus. It happened on Broadway last night, which is also Route 99. We told you that 2 children had been hit in this crash. Now, police say that the victims were a man and a woman. State police say their crime scene services and accident reconstruction team were out assisting Saugus police last night. No word yet on the condition of these victims, and the driver did remain on scene.
The embattled mayor of Fall River maintains his innocence as he faces more federal charges. These new charges announced yesterday include extorting marijuana businesses. Now, Mayor Jason Correa was already charged back in 2018 with defrauding tech investors, but investigators Friday say these new charges include accusations that the mayor used money to fund a lavish lifestyle.
Not guilty of these charges.
Jason Correa gave only a brief statement after he was arraigned on 24 federal charges.
I've done nothing but good for the great city of Fall River, me and my staff, my team, and I'm going to continue to do great things for our city.
He's accused of accepting a Rolex watch and cash from a local business owner in exchange for city permits. Prosecutors also say Correa received bribes from marijuana companies in exchange for city approval to open up hot shops.
From 2016 to 2018, he did this to at least 4 separate would-be marijuana vendors in Fall River. Total agreed payments to Correa topped $600,000.
Investigators say most of those payments came in cash, some in campaign donations, and others from cuts of marijuana sales profits. Correa is also accused of taking kickbacks from his chief of staff.
In approximately November 2017, as a condition of getting and keeping the job, his chief of staff agreed to give Correa about half of her $78,000 salary, paycheck by paycheck.
Correa was elected mayor of Fall River when he was 23 years old. In 2018, the federal government charged him with defrauding investors for an app that he created. They say he used more than $230,000 of their money to buy a Mercedes, pay off debt, and fund luxurious travel and designer clothes.
If the allegations in today's indictment are true, Mayor Correa has engaged in an outrageous, brazen campaign of corruption, which turns his job into a personal ATM, victimizing
Associate
specific people, but the residents of the city that he is supposed to lead.
Correa pleaded not guilty and was released on a $250,000 bond. Now, despite the 2018 charges, Correa won his recall election earlier this year, and he's now running for re-election. That election will take.
New this morning, the House Judiciary Committee is reportedly taking formal steps to begin the impeachment process against President Trump. Sources tell both CNN and Politico that the committee is planning to vote next week on the investigation procedures. The vote will lay out the ground rules for conducting hearings. Well, the president of Michigan State is speaking out about the sexual assault scandal involving former Dr. Larry Nassar coming up. The lesson he says school leaders have learned following the case.
But first, a building boom in parts of Boston that haven't seen major construction in years. Coming up, we'll take a look at the new neighborhood plan for Dorchester.
And right now, Dorian, east of Nantucket, pulling away. The worst of the rain beginning to let up. We're not finished with the wind. Coastal concerns. Tracking straight ahead.
BuyAToyota.com is Toyota's official website for deals. See every official Toyota deal out there, including offers not seen on TV. BuyAToyota.com when you officially want the best deal. Toyota, let's go places.
You want it? It's extended at Brockman's. 40 to 60% off. Plus $100 instant discount. No interest for up to 48 months with no money down and free delivery. The Labor Day sale extended through Monday at Brockman's.
Boston 25 News is now on Alexa. Get the latest breaking news, weather, and local stories. Just download the Alexa app, log into your Amazon account, search for Boston 25 News, and enable this skill. For more information, go to boston25news.com. Watch, learn, know.
We have you covered.
Watch exclusive stories.
Fighting the gang war.
Learn what's happening wherever you
Find out
are.
the latest information on our Boston 25 News app.
No fake news first.
We'll be the first to tell you with our push alert.
Boston 25 News. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3 on fire. This one mix is moving in during the late night hours.
Live. Yes, it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live at the government center at T-Stop.
Data police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
We are live in Boston with late breaking details.
Get it all on Boston 25 News at 10 and 11. Boston 25 Morning News. 6 hours of local coverage. Sarah and Gene with today's headlines.
Sky 25 over the scene.
Boston police are searching for a missing man.
We just got on scene. Details coming in.
Sherry and Catherine have weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
So we'll need to have your radar gear on hand. Here's Catherine with a look at the roads. Fortunately, we don't have any of that weather right now.
Lily and Daniel with what's happening now.
We have breaking news coming into Boston 25 newsroom.
We'll have the latest details as they're happening.
Start your day off right. Boston 25 Morning News. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3 on fire. These showers moving in overnight are going to make it a wet commute.
Live. Yes, it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live at the government center at T-Stop.
Data police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
We are live in Boston with late breaking details.
Get it all on Boston 25 News at 10 and 11. When severe weather strikes.
Wet, stormy night ahead. Potential for dangerous lightning and strong winds.
Turn to Boston 25 weather.
We can see the rain stretched across the area. Heavier stuff is out towards the west.
We're committed to keeping you safe.
The people who are out there hopefully are taking cover and making sure they're out of the path of this storm.
Live coverage.
That could lead to a chance of severe storm
from before it hits.
Check out these winds today. We can see 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts.
Until after it's gone. Always be prepared with the Boston 25 weather team.
Large tree down on Meeting House Road. Also getting a tree down in Norwell on Prospect Street. So these are the kinds of things you're going to be seeing this morning. Watch out for any power lines that they may be laying down, tracking the worst before right out of here straight ahead.
Developing Dorchester, unused plots of land and old buildings are making way for a building boom in Boston's biggest neighborhood. Boston 25 News, where John Monahan shows us the project and the problems that come with it.
New buildings are popping up across Dorchester. Many new condos. And on the horizon, some major mixed-use residential and commercial developments are also in the works.
I'm looking at it as an opportunity here.
Boston City Councilor Frank Baker says the city is growing. Areas like this fenced-off open field on Dot Ave will be home to an area dubbed Dot Park. A return, Baker says, to how city neighborhoods used to be.
They're going to bring amenities that hopefully people that live here and they need to go to a market, they want to get a coffee, they don't need to get in their vehicle and drive.
Baker says the density will support new business, and with more and more people moving into the city and Dorchester, infrastructure is a concern.
The planning is about sending people to public transportation, whether that's integral line, whether that's red line, whatever it is.
A lot of people get on track.
Neighbors, though, are also worried about rising rents, something the city, he says, is wrestling with.
Our success is now driving the people that made the community, driving them out.
Keeping them here means affordable housing. Some will be part of this new development on Dudley Street. or will be part of a massive development eyed for the former Bayside Expo Center on Columbia Point. That is now a UMass parking lot, while plans for the 20-acre site are developed.
We're in the city. You know, we're at a point now where you're going to just see every place going up because there's no more going out, it's going up.
John Monahan, Boston 25 News.
This is the Boston 25 Weather Alert.
And we are on weather alert. That tropical storm warning continues for the Cape and the islands. Look at these gusts up around 60 miles an hour. Wellfleet in P-Town, Nantucket at 54, the highest I've seen so far. But we even had 58 in Charlestown, Rhode Island, and that 58 mile an hour criteria, you can think of it as a severe thunderstorm wind gust blowing out of the storm. He's coming through with hurricane offshore, no thunder, but nevertheless doing some getting power line damage. We're getting those reports in this morning from the Cape and the South Shore. Meantime, the worst of the rain looks like it is wrapping up. The intensity of the rain starting to calm down. P-Town and Nantucket, we just had a little drizzle here through the Merrimack Valley and around Boston, temps in the 50s and some low 60s here. You can see that radar beginning to just lose some of its organization as Dorian continues to pull farther out into the Atlantic. And the onshore winds are still with us, coming across Cape Ann and into the Boston area, and that's where we have a little bit of that drizzle like rain. But look at those totals. Not impressive at all. Chief Meteorologist Chemical Man was showing you last night those rains a little farther north and west. Not going to be that big of a deal. But on the Cape, we've had an inch, even 2 inches on Nantucket. The tropical storm warning there continues. High surf, still an issue for our southern-facing beaches throughout the day today. Our east-facing beaches will continue with high surf into tomorrow morning. And then we'll gradually see improvement. Winds right now gusting up the tropical storm force in Plymouth. Also on Nantucket, near that on the Vineyard. As far as the gust forecast, we'll see improvement after mid-morning. Still some tropical storm force gusts, though, around midday on the Cape and potentially the islands. Now, as we get to the evening, we're fine. Just a nice gentle breeze. We'll have clearing skies and no more rain to deal with. In fact, the drizzle will leave us through about 10 a.m. toward the coastline. But as winds turn northwest, we're going to shut down that onshore breeze, and we'll just have some sunshine trying to break out this afternoon. West to east, will shut down any rain risk. Temps in the low 70s to the upper 60s underneath some of the clouds. And then tonight, time for evening plans. Like my cookout forecast, how about some low 70s at 5 o'clock this evening, and then we'll be in the upper 70s at 5 o'clock tomorrow under mainly sunny skies. So your weekend in view, we're still on alert this morning, but then that expires this afternoon. And we're fine heading into Tuesday of next week. By Wednesday, our next front is approaching. Iron out the timing differences that I'm seeing in the longer range forecast. But I see a scattered risk for showers and storms Wednesday to Thursday, and we could be clearing out, cooling off again, but we'll taste of some summer-like weather. I think Wednesday to Thursday is warm up a bit.
The president of Michigan State University is now speaking out about a scandal involving former USA Gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar. The university was recently slapped with a $4.5 million fine over how it handled the sexual assault allegations. The school's president says the case will serve as a blueprint for action for any future scandals like this one.
The Biden administration is committed to taking the actions and making the changes necessary to address the weaknesses and failures of the system and the people who potentially or not failed to address the root causes of this abuse.
Nassar is currently serving a decades-long prison sentence for sexually assaulting more than 250 athletes, including several Olympic gold medalists.
Well, we all know that young people are putting more and more of their lives on social media, and a controversial new program hopes to use their posts to prevent mass shootings. The company Social Sentinel is working with hundreds of schools in 36 states. They use algorithms to identify and flag threatening posts. The system then alerts educators and law enforcement. While many are praising the system, others are worried it's an invasion of privacy.
Even though most American school children to grow up in a world where they view surveillance as normal, whether that's on the sidewalk or in the classroom.
School Sentinel argues it's not surveillance, saying it only uses publicly available data.
Former Vice President Joe Biden continued his campaign in New Hampshire this week. Yesterday afternoon, the Democratic presidential candidate hosted a town hall in Laconia. After leaving the Lakes region, he then headed to the Seacoast and also hosted a town hall style event in Newcastle. According to the latest polls, Biden remains the frontrunner for the nomination in the Democratic Party. Meantime, California Senator Kamala Harris is also in the Granite State this weekend. Harris stopped in Londonderry and Fort Smith for a couple of events yesterday. Today, she'll be speaking at a forum for veterans and military families in Manchester. In recent polls, Harris has been in fourth place among the 20 Democrats in that large presidential field. Beto O'Rourke, meantime, held a town hall at Tufts University yesterday and plans to continue campaigning in New England today. O'Rourke will be attending events in New Hampshire throughout Saturday. He'll make appearances in Manchester, Somersworth, and Durham. And Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is also campaigning alongside her fellow 2020 hopefuls. She'll be at a New Hampshire Democratic Party convention later this morning.
And right now, Dorian passing off to the east. We're just watching improving conditions here back to the west. Still some wind and coastal concerns to get through. I'll have that straight ahead.
Dorian making its mark on the Cape, Nantucket, and Martha's Vineyard. Coming up, the ferry cancellation we're seeing this morning.
Remember when you just started junior high? You've come a long way in a short time. From teenager to adult, just like that. With your whole future ahead of you. You deserve to start that journey in your new Toyota. And we want to help you. That's why Toyota is giving recent or soon-to-be college grads a rebate of up to $1,000 on select models. That's $1,000 over and above other special financing and lease offers. Or visit us at buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
You want it? It's extended at Rockman's. 40 to 60% off, plus $100 instant discount. No interest for up to 48 months with no money down and free delivery. The Labor Day sale extended through Monday at Rockman's. Watch, learn, know.
We have you covered.
Watch exclusive stories.
Fighting the gang war.
Learn what's happening wherever you are.
Latest information on our Boston 25 news.
No big news first.
We'll be the first to tell you with our push alert.
Boston 25 News. Boston 25 Morning News. 6 hours of local coverage. Sarah and Gene with today's headlines.
Sky 25 over the scene.
Boston police are searching for a missing man.
We just got on scene details coming in.
Sherry and Catherine have weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
We need to have your rain gear on hand. Here's Catherine with a look at the road. Fortunately, we don't have any of that weather right now.
Lily and Daniel with what's happening now.
We have breaking news coming in the Boston 25 newsroom.
We'll have the latest details as they're happening. Start your day off right. Boston 25 Morning News. With severe weather strikes.
Wet, night ahead, potential for dangerous lightning and strong winds.
Turn to Boston 25 weather.
We can see the rain stretched across the area. Heavier stuff is out towards the west.
We're committed to keeping you safe.
The people who are out there hopefully are taking cover and making sure they're out of the path of this storm.
Live coverage.
That could lead to a chance of severe storms
before it hits.
Check out these winds today. We can see 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts.
Until after it's gone. Always be prepared. The Boston 25 weather team. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3 on fire. These showers will begin overnight are going to make it a wet commute.
Live as it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live with the government center at T-Stop.
Native police are looking for this man.
A matchup tonight like none we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
We are live in Boston with late-breaking details.
Get it all on Boston 25 News at 10 and 11. Live 20 News continues right now.
Welcome back, everybody. A tropical storm warning is in effect right now for the Cape and Islands as Hurricane Dorian continues to move up the East Coast. We're taking a live look this morning at Hyannisport. Wind reports on some parts of the outer Cape this morning have reached more than 60 miles an hour, so that's pretty serious.
Yeah, it's looking like that fog is also lingering too, so there's some moisture in the air. It is just about 7:30 on your Saturday, September 7th, and some wind gusts are between 45 and 55 miles per hour and higher in some areas here. Boston 25 News meteorologist Jason Brewer. Jason, you're saying that those strong winds are going to last for at least a few more hours.
Yeah, we got to get through the mid-morning, and then we'll see improvement. Right now, Dorian, as it's closest here at about 140 miles southeast of Nantucket, continues to move away, taking the rain with it. So we will see improvement here as far as the rain goes this morning. Right now, it's really deep down to Nantucket, the mid-Cape, dealing with some leftover rain, but the rain totals adding up to an inch or two amounts in those locations. Meantime, there's a little drizzle coming offshore here around Boston and Cape Ann and Merrimack Valley. There are those wind gusts, 60 to 63. Wellfleet, P-Town topping the list, even Rockport at 50. There goes Dorian. It's Cat 1 moving toward Nova afternoon. Meantime, Futurecast doing a good job keeping a mention of drizzle in there through about 9 or 10 in the morning. Then winds go offshore, we start to brighten the skies up a bit from west to east. We climb into the upper 60s to the lower 70s this afternoon. I'll be back with more of those coastal impacts that we're still seeing, some minor flooding in Nantucket Harbor underway to high tide.
As Jason continues to track this storm, we are also keeping an eye on the conditions on the Cape this morning.
That's right. This weather causing issues for people hoping to travel to and from Nantucket. Boston 25 News reporter Natalie Rubino is live in Hyannisport this morning. Natalie, how's it looking out there this hour?
Well, Jason and Crystal, we've certainly seen the wind picking up within the past few minutes here. We saw a lot of rain earlier this morning. Now wind is becoming the issue, and you can see the water on the harbor behind me. It is very choppy. All of the ferries from Hyannisport to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard have been canceled this morning. The afternoon ferries are running on a case-by-case basis. Now, Dorian is certainly making it a weekend to remember for many people here in New England. We know that there are about 40 different weddings on Nantucket this weekend that people from all over are trying to get to. Some are dealing with delayed or canceled flights. Nearly everyone dealing with the uncertain ferry schedules. Now, also, the Hyannis Triathlon was scheduled for this morning. It brings in hundreds of athletes from out of town. Organizers went ahead and canceled that yesterday, fearing the swim portion would become too dangerous.
There's a lot of athletes that are a little anxious about the swim anyway, so they're predicting, waves that are 6 feet plus. That could be a little bit of a problem out there. So keep everybody safe, keep everyone.
So a couple of those athletes are planning their own pop-up triathlon tomorrow morning, hoping that the weather will be better. Now, back to travel, as we said, all of the morning ferries to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard have been canceled. If you do need to get out there, the afternoon ferries are running on a case-by-case basis. I just spoke to somebody at the Highline cruise part, and she said that if they're lucky, they'll start getting people out to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard later this afternoon. But right now, it's just too dangerous with the wind and the rain. We're live in Hyannisport this morning. Natalie Rubino, Boston 25 News.
Natalie, thanks. And we've been monitoring the power outages this morning, and this is actually a big jump, these numbers here, from when we showed them to you about an hour ago. Right now, more than 2,100 Eversource customers are without power. Most of those are in Dennis and other towns on the Cape. That number actually jumped from just around 800 about an hour ago. Most of the National Grid power outages, about 750, are in Tewksbury and Lowell.
And the hurricane has been affecting people in Massachusetts long before this weekend. Jennifer and Kevin Conway, who are from Chicopee, got married this summer. Well, 2 weeks ago, they left on their honeymoon, and that was a cruise that left from Tampa, Florida. They were supposed to make several stops on the Cayman Islands and South America, but their trip was cut short. They were on a cruise, and they didn't know about Dorian until their cruise was changed. The Conway said that once they got back to Tampa a day early, they had a hard time finding.
Search for a missing man in Concord. They're looking for a 53-year-old man out of Cambridge. Investigators actually searched Walton Pond yesterday. They say they found personal items at the pond that indicate the missing man was there earlier this week.
7:35, and a federal judge says Uber did not break any laws by operating in Boston before ride-hailing legislation was passed on Beacon Hill. 3 dozen cab companies have sued Uber. The judge yesterday ruled lawyers for the cabbies failed to prove that Uber did anything wrong, and the city of Boston never told Uber not to do business there.
Governor Charlie Baker wants to spend millions of dollars to make sure that you have healthy drinking water. In a new supplemental spending bill, the governor is set to propose $8.4 million set aside to test drinking water for PFAS contamination, and another $20 million to fix any issues. Boston 25 has covered the dangers of PFAS, a chemical that is also found in firefighters' foam. The new money comes after the Department of Environmental Protection detected high levels of the chemical in 8 communities. Meantime, the governor will head into the city today to check the progress being made on the Orange Line. The shuttle buses will replace Orange Line service between Forest Hills and the Ruggles T-stop this weekend, while MBTA crews work on line and maintenance work there. The governor is expected to check out the Green Street station later this afternoon.
Roughly 40% of students in Massachusetts are kids of color, but 92% of teachers are white. Now, teachers in Wayland are hoping to change that by taking their recruitment efforts down south. Administrators went to UNC Chapel Hill in North Carolina State last May. Their goal was to find teachers willing to relocate up north and diversify their staff. They say research shows having a diverse group of teachers can really help students of color and all students perform better in school.
Staff members of color in the building just improve their experiences. So that's the ultimate goal, to make sure that we're giving all of our kids a really high quality education.
The team from Wayland is actually going back to North Carolina multiple times this year to recruit and go to other colleges.
A major effort to help local vets get the help that they need. More than 100 federal, state, and local agencies and nonprofit groups got together to hold an event in Boston Friday. They offered services like dental and medical care, housing assistance, as well as options for mental health services. All of this is part of a new effort to try and help support veterans throughout Boston.
Although these services are available daily to veterans, this creates an event that really honors the service and makes it very efficient for veterans who are seeking information and services to get connected.
Massachusetts is very veteran friendly, and when we have all these presenters here, that just reinforces that story.
The New England Center at Home for Vets says that it plans to hold more events just like this one in the future.
Well, as health officials try to figure out how to curb the vaping epidemic, a local lawmaker thinks he has a solution. The e-cigarette buyback program one state rep is proposing.
And a lot of kids start their fall sports right now. Coming up, we'll tell you the reason local doctors are encouraging kids to play more than just one sport.
And if you got fall sports this morning, we're watching Dorian away. We're not washed out, and we're seeing the track into the Canadian Maritimes. It takes it up there as a hurricane. Meantime, leftover coastal issues, rounding up wind and storm reports too straight ahead.
This moment began in the all-wheel drive Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. It's our fastest RAV4, yet still delivers a class-leading 40 mpg. Sophisticated safety technology comes at no additional cost, as does an M2 3.0 multimedia system. And it's only $800 more than its equivalent gas model. The Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. Technology that shatters assumptions. Toyota. Let's go places.
You want it? It's extended at Rockman's. 40 to 60% off. Plus $100 instant discount. No interest for up to 48 months with no money down and free delivery. The Labor Day sale extended through Monday at Rockman's.
Boston 25 News is now on Alexa. Get the latest breaking news, weather, and local stories. Just download the Alexa app, log into your Amazon account, search for Boston 25 News, and enable this skill. For more information, go to boston25news.com.
Boston 25 News is ended up-to-the-minute breaking coverage. This video jumps into our newsroom.
I want you to know the weather coming our way is moving kind of heavy. This rain is going to make a mess of things when it gets to New England. And local stories right out of your neck. This next one you have to see.
Live, local, breaking. Boston 25 News at 10. Boston 25 Morning News. 6 hours of local coverage. Sarah and Gene with today's headlines.
Sky 25 over the sea.
Boston police are searching for a missing man.
We just got on scene with details coming in.
Sherry and Catherine have weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
You need to have your rain gear on hand. Here's Catherine with a look at the roads. Fortunately, we don't have any of that weather right now.
Lily and Daniel with what's happening now.
We have breaking news coming in from Boston 25 Newsroom.
We'll have the latest details as they're happening. Start your day off right. Boston 25 Morning News. Boston 25 News. Mark, Vanessa, Kevin, and Tom.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Worcester.
Sky 25 over the scene of a 3-alarm fire. This one remix is moving in during the late night hours.
Live as it happens.
We just got here on the scene.
More local stories.
I'm live with the government center chief stop.
Native police are looking for this man.
None we've seen before.
On top of breaking news.
We are live in Boston with late breaking details.
Get it all on Boston 25 News at 10 and 11.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is urging people to stop using e-cigarettes after at least 5 have died from a vaping-related respiratory illness. Right now, the CDC is investigating 450 cases of that illness spanning across 33 states. The FDA says it has tested 120 product samples to
so far has not been able to identify a single brand, ingredient, or substance that might explain the lung issue. In LA County, health officials have called for a moratorium on vape vaping. For now, the CDC is asking everyone to stay away from e-cigarettes. So what should you do if you smoke e-cigarettes? Well, the CDC says there are certain signs to look for if you are coughing, have shortness of breath, chest pain, nausea, or vomiting. They say you should seek medical help right away.
Meantime, a Massachusetts state representative has a new idea to try and combat vaping among teenage students. State Rep Paul Roeder says educators need help, so he's proposing a new buyback program. Here's his idea. As teachers in schools seize vaping materials from students, they send those materials back to the manufacturers, who then cut a check for the school for the retail price. He says schools can use that money to educate students about the risks of vaping.
Kind of grasp this idea that I think it really is the problem that's in the industry. That has said, we don't want to tell the kids, well, this is an opportunity for them to put some skin in the game.
Here's how bad the problem is. According to MakeSmokingHistory.org, 41% of high school students in Massachusetts say they've tried e-cigarettes. The American Vaping Association says they would be open to discussing Representative Roeder's proposal if he proposes a similar buyback program for alcohol, recreational marijuana, and regular cigarettes. It is back to school and back to sports for a lot of students throughout Massachusetts meantime, but for student athletes who play the same sport around the year-round, local doctors are warning about the increased risk of injury. A sports medicine doctor at Brigham Women's told the Boston Globe 50% of the injuries that they see in middle and high schoolers would be preventable if that student weren't playing the same sport year-round. They say they often see stress fractures, certain bones being used over and over again, which puts kids, of course, at a higher risk for stunted or abnormal growth. Doctors say while youth sports are beneficial physically and mentally, it's very important to try and switch up the games every once in a while.
Well, today is like Christmas Eve for a lot of Patriots fans. The Pats will be back in Gillette tomorrow night. The player that says he's ready to get back on the field and back door.
And this is a special moment, 2 years in the making. A Harvard student back on campus after he was seriously hurt on the football field. Only Boston 25 News shows the special reunion that he had with the football team.
All right, the wind is covering the camera here, and so is a few of the raindrops on the Bourne Bridge. You can see that the trees, they're moving a little bit as the Cayman Islands are in a tropical storm warning this morning. We'll have a live report from the Cape.